Before we get into the podcast, make sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at This Strange World Podcast and on Twitter at This Strange Pod.
Welcome back to the Strange World. I'm Gavin. Someone's gotta go next.
I'm Chris.
Spooky.
I'm Leah.
I'm Chris. Oh, and I'm Chris.
In today's episode, first of all, Chris, do you have something to say to the viewers?
Yeah, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween. You only targeted Chris because you think he says it funny.
He said it Halloween, but it's
Halloween.
Halloween.
I say Halloween.
What do you say?
Halloween.
Do you have something caught in your throat?
It's
No,
Hall.
you
like,
do, because you're the one.
I feel like
It's
but it's spelled H-A-L-L.
right,
Like
Halloween.
a hall. Like a town hall.
No.
What do you pronounce it?
Hall.
Town hall?
Halloween.
Town hall?
Halloween.
No, town hall.
Do you have hallways in your
Bagel.
house?
It's a bagel.
You just make fun of him because he's
Dang
from
it.
Boston. Anyway, so typically the format that we do is that one of us does a little bit of extra research beforehand and comes in, shares what they learned with the other two. Today, what we're doing is we all kind of did a little bit of extra research. So we're not each doing an hour, but as you can tell, this is a pretty long episode. I don't know how long it is as we're recording it because, you know, we're recording it, but I assume it'll be anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. I assume it's long. So, and if I'm wrong, hey, you know, we can't always be right. It's the future. So anyway, so for this episode, we thought it would be fun if each of us kind of individually research a topic. Can you guys hear me? What are you guys making faces at?
I just realized
Making
something. We can
faces
keep this
at
in the
Chris.
thing, by the way, but I just plugged in my laptop with my Nintendo Switch charger, and it turns out you can charge a MacBook Pro with the Nintendo Switch charger.
I mean, it's just USB-C, but that's interesting.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail your thing.
That's what
I plugged it in. I plugged it in my laptop and like, oh, you're charging. I was like, what?
And so was Leah just
'Cause I was
confused by
like,
what Chris was doing?
I didn't know you could do
The
that.
eyebrow raise.
Anyway,
Did that give it away?
so basically in this episode, it's almost like 3 mini episodes, which we'll put, I think we'll put some time codes in the description that you can hop around to different sections. But so each of us have kind of taken a topic that could be a full-length episode, but we're condensing it, and we're doing almost 3 mini episodes in one episode.
It's a 3-in-1.
It is a 3-in-1.
It's gonna be so much fun.
It's going to be so much fun. I'm going to be talking about candy. We're going to have a discussion about, you know, I got some lists, some statistics, candies by state, popularity, got what's popular by year. So we'll figure out exactly how we want to talk about it. And then after me, we got Chris, right? Chris is going
yeah.
after? Yeah. Chris, what are you going to be
Mhm.
talking about? Give a little tease.
Oh, I got some scary stories for y'all. I got some
Ooh.
creepy urban legends. I got some scary stories. And when I was researching these, I got scared myself. So
Ooh.
it's gonna
Well,
be
it's a
fun.
good thing we're recording this late at night because I know Leah loves listening to scary stuff late at night. And then speaking of scary stuff, we're gonna end with Leah. Leah, what are you gonna be talking about?
So I'm going to be talking about horror movies based off of real life events. So
Ooh.
that will be... This, by the way, was not fun to research, but I have seen most of these movies that I have listed.
Yeah.
So
Well, to be fair, you chose that topic.
I did. We all choose a topic in which we want to talk
Yeah.
about. But this one, oh boy, I'm shaking right now. I'm like,
What's scary about mine and versus Leah's is mine's designed to get people scared.
Yeah.
Leah's is researched on actual real things that happened.
Yeah.
So that's
mhm.
I feel
That's
like if
something to look
anything,
forward to.
Leah, it should almost well, I guess not. I was about to say, then I guess you don't know it's fake because then that means you know it's real. So that probably makes it scarier. I was gonna say it makes it less scary
Yeah.
because you know what
I was
actually
gonna say-
happened.
no, that makes it more scary.
I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, as you guys know, because TBR, these movies are all really dramatized and blown way out of proportion than the events that actually has happened. But I mean, there are some events that do relate pretty close to. Okay, Chris, that's nice. Just pull out
Chris
a
just
big
pulled out a
knife.
knife. Why do you have that in your bedroom?
to keep the monsters away. Obviously.
Good point.
Can you hear that? Wait,
I
can you hear that?
do it again. Give us a
Ready?
yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Well, I'm glad we're not in the same place. Otherwise, I would be scared that Chris would murder me.
Wielding a
But
knife.
yeah.
Okay.
So as I was saying, some of these things do hit like really close to real life. So that's all I'm gonna say for now.
No,
But
it'd be super
Gavin,
interesting. So yeah, we're gonna go from lighthearted talking about candy to talking about some stories to then going to real life things. So it should be quite the roller coaster. Again, we'll put time codes in case you want to hop around or hop back and stuff, and we'll do all of our collective sources at the end. But should we jump right into it?
let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's go.
Let's jump right
Let's
into
do
it. All right, so my section. Welcome to Gavin's corner. Welcome to Gavin's section of the episode. We're gonna be. I was like at first.
Wait, Gavin. It's Gavin with Gavin Spooky Edition.
Gavin with Gavin Spooky Edition. That was the name of one of our projects that we did at school. Was Gavin with Gavin. So this is Gavin with Gavin Spooky Edition. And so when I was initially gonna come up with a topic, I wanted to do something fun. Obviously, I was originally debating doing something with costumes or couples costumes, specifically of like weird couples costumes, but it was just a lot of weird pictures from like the 2000s that were just like badly made couples costumes. So then I decided, let's talk about some candy. I don't know if you guys have any candy hot takes. I don't even know if I do, but I guess we will figure that out. So I have some options of how we want to go through this. This is not planned, not scripted. I have a couple of lists of what was the most popular candy each year. I have by state, just the current most popular candies. What do you guys want to go through? I have it by like decade. What were the most popular? And also then we don't need to spend a lot of time on it. We can go quick hot takes. We got like a tight half hour, 45 minutes of Gavin with Gavin. What do you guys want to start? Well, I guess we can go through like most of it, probably.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, Chris, what do you want to do?
Let's go with the most popular candy by decade. That sounds fun.
Yeah. All right.
That sounded fun.
So
or by year, whatever it was.
We'll start with just decade and we'll just run through these and then we can go back and do a couple interesting ones by year. But so I don't really have, usually I've got paragraphs to say about this, but we're just going to talk about it, give our hot takes on stuff. So 1920s, this is from the dailymeal.com. They got this list, most popular Halloween candies when you were a kid is what it says. But like,
was anybody a kid in the 20s?
I don't know
at this
if currently
point?
there was anyone who was a kid in the 20s. But in case you want to reminisce on what the most popular Halloween candy was, actually, why don't you guys guess? What do you think the most popular Halloween candy was in the 20s? It is still a relevant candy. It's not as big as what it was in the 20s.
I'm gonna.
It's the thing. What's the thing called? It's like, is it Tootsie Rolls?
That's a good guess. It's not.
That's a good guess, though.
I'll give you some hints so we can keep it moving along. Let's, Chris, do you have a guess?
Is it licorice?
It's not licorice. It is a name brand candy. It's made by Nestle. It's a candy bar. Any final guess?
Oh. Is it Nestle's Crunch?
It is not. Leah, do you have a final guess?
Nestle? I don't know much. No, I don't.
It's Baby Ruth. They were huge.
I thought that was done by Mars, by the Mars company.
Maybe it was. Here's what it has to say about it.
Have you given us false information on our podcast?
I might.
I could be wrong.
Introduced in 1921, Baby Ruths were a huge hit in the roaring 20s. This candy bar is made of peanuts, caramel, chocolate filling nougat. Eventually became the top-selling 5-cent confection of the decade. Other popular Halloween candies in the 20s include Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, O. Henry bars, and Bit O' Honey. So that's pretty good. 1930s. What do you guys think? I'll give you a hint. Candy bar, personally one of my favorite candy bars.
Well, that tells me lots, Gavin.
I know. You know my candy taste
Gavin
so
likes
well.
Chocolate.
It's a candy.
Do you like chocolate?
I do. I do like chocolate. It's a candy bar. One of my favorites. It's not too heavy, pretty light. 1930s. What do you guys think?
You want to go first?
I'm just gonna get like Hershey's. Maybe? Hershey's chocolate.
I was gonna guess that too. Hershey's.
Three Musketeers.
That's heavy. What are you saying? Not heavy.
I've never had it before, so I can't say anything.
It's like whipped chocolate. It's light. That's not heavy. I mean, I don't
know. I've never had it before.
Builds up in here, man.
It does.
It's heavy for Leah.
It's a whipped nougat chocolate covered candy flavored with chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry. And wartime rations made parent company Mars ditch the other two flavors, leaving just the whipped chocolate filling trick-or-treaters get today. Other popular candies in the 30s include Snickers, candy buttons, and Boston baked beans.
People gave out Boston baked beans as a candy back then,
No,
or is it like a?
It's like a candy called Boston baked beans. They're like little
Sounds
things.
disgusting.
I'm surprised. I don't think they're a big thing nowadays, but I'm surprised you wouldn't know that because you're like from Boston. All right,
Well,
this one
we know the baked beans, but
true. All right,
Yeah.
the 40s. This one is still possibly one of the biggest candies. 40s, iconic. This is what it says. It may be hard to imagine a trick-or-treating bag without the iconic blank, but they didn't come onto the market until 1941. This candy got so popular throughout the decade that the Mars Candy Company had to start stamping their. Oh wait, that's so. Oh no, it's starting to give it away.
I think I know what it is. I think I
already started to give it away. What
is it? Like Reese's, Snickers, or Kit Kat? Because I think they're also made by Mars, right?
That's not fair. You gave out 3 guesses right there.
Fine, you want me to go with one? I'm gonna go with Snickers.
I'll give you a hint. None of those are right. Chris, what's your guess?
Okay.
I'm gonna go with my guess from last time. I'm gonna go with the Hershey's bar.
Is M&M's.
What?
The 40s.
That's made by Mars too.
These were like
Yeah,
wartime
it is made by Mars.
efforts, and so they started stamping their candy shell chocolates with little M's to distinguish them from imitators. Other big ones were Bazooka Bubblegum and Almond Joys. Were also huge in the 40s.
Oh, I love.
When did the Hershey's bar come out? Because that's iconic as well.
I don't think that is on this list for iconic Halloween candy. All right,
That's
50s. Personally,
blasphemy.
I don't know this one. I've never had it. I don't think. I'm not a big fan of this. It's cinnamon flavored from the 50s. Take a guess. I probably would not have been able to guess.
I have no idea. I know that there's a candy that has cinnamon in it, but it's like that like fireball stuff. But
Yeah.
like I
Oh,
don't
those?
think it's that.
It's atomic fireballs or cinnamon.
Oh, is it
flavored.
really? Is it really that?
These spicy sweet jawbreakers were created in 1954 and quickly became a favorite for adventurous children. They weren't the only spicy cinnamon confection introduced in the 50s. Hot tamales also came onto the market at the start of the decade. Generally speaking, 50s candies were a little bit more subdued, with Necco wafers, satellite wafers, and black licorice flavored treats winning over children. So the 50s, it's all very plain.
Horrible. That's what they had to candy when you're in the 50s?
I guess. All right, so
cinnamon fireballs and
cinnamon
chalk.
Yeah.
Fireballs are good.
Yeah.
I like those.
All right, moving right along.
Chris is, like, looking at
60s.
me like, oh, God.
Another big one. Give you a hint. It is not chocolate. It's also not cinnamon. It's very sugary.
Taffy.
No, close. Not a bad guess. Chris, do you have a guess?
That's a good guess.
Do you want to?
Well, 60s was a very colorful time.
It was a very
So-
colorful, maybe very fruity.
Maybe very fruity. Maybe I'm thinking I don't know when it came out, but
Is it the thing that you had, Chris? That you got sick of? The
no, I
started
don't
with, like,
even
an
want to hear
R or
those.
something?
No, that was never popular ever. You're thinking of Runts. That wasn't it. No. Charms?
No. Any final guess?
Ah.
I'll give you another hint. I'll start reading it. They were fruity flavors: cherry, lime, lemon, orange, grape. That's just kind of any candy.
No,
They
is
were
it
the new sugary, tart, and appropriately named candy.
oh, sweet tarts?
Yeah, sweet tarts. Sweet tarts were the most popular Halloween candy in the 60s. Some other big favorites were
I love those.
a lot of banana flavored. Banana flavor was huge. Necco's
Ugh.
banana splits and banana slapsticks. Mike and Ike's Pixie Six and Starbursts were also popular.
Chris loves Starburst.
I love Starburst. I hate
You would have
You're
loved
making me sick.
this era, Chris.
You're making me sick after what you brought up Runts again.
Oh my goodness.
I hate it.
Okay,
It's one of those
you
things.
know, Gavin. So Chris, do you want to? Chris, I think ate too many runs, and you know when you eat like too much of one thing, you get really sick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Well, Runts were
mean,
never good to begin with, but I had like an entire
you-
box when I was like 5 years old, and I like threw up like crazy that night, and I've never been able to even look at a picture of Runts. I can't even think of it. Now I'm saying Runts like 5
Alright.
times as
Let's move right along to the 70s. So, most popular Halloween candy in the 70s. I'll give you a hint. They had jokes written on the wrappers. They were chewy, fruity. These candies were huge. Just to give you a sense, some other popular candies in the 70s were Pop Rocks, Fizzy Zots, 1 and 2 Blow Pops, and the delightful Fun Dip, often dropped in
jokes
trick-or-treaters'
written
bags.
on them.
So, what kind of goes with the vibe? 70s, chewy, fruity.
could it be that gum? That gum that had like not the was it the
I think you said
bazooka?
this one earlier. I think you said this earlier, Leah. Oh, that's a solid hint. I'm pretty sure you have already guessed this.
Did I say the sweet candy? The one that you oh my god, now I'm looking at no. What was it? Oh my
You
god, I
said
forget.
something that was like,
What was it? Do you remember?
you said it was in the 60s.
Chris, do you remember it?
I don't want to take her thunder if she
No,
wants
it's
to
okay.
say
Take
it.
my thunder because I'm dying
Is it
here.
Taffy?
It is. It's Laffy Taffy.
Laffy Taffy. Oh,
Yeah.
that's disgusting. I hate Laffy Taffy.
I don't love Laffy Taffies, but they were a big hit in the 70s. All right, 80s. This one, I'm a big fan of this one. They are still, as we know, they were different back in the day. Their name was slightly different, but originally they were called Marsmen. And the rumor has it that they got the new name to cash in on the Cabbage Patch Kids craze of the 80s. And besides these treats, some other treats that were popular was Wonka candies such as Runts and Nerds were big in the 80s. And also fruity flavored things really carried over from the 70s and 80s with Ring Pops and Skittles making their debut. But so it's none of those. I gave it away. The name may have gotten into cash in from the Cabbage Patch Kids craze. What do you think this candy is?
Chris, you go
Cabbage
first.
Patch Kids craze. Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, it was Sour Patch Kids. Were you thinking that, Leah?
No.
Yeah, they were introduced as Sour Patch, and then they got a little name change to Sour Patch Kids. People think it's because of Cabbage Patch Kids.
You know what they call them in France?
What do they call them in France?
Very bad kids.
Is that true, or that you just
That's true? No, I'm serious.
Really?
My sister went to Paris and she sent me a picture of Sour Patch Kids, but it said very bad kids on the side because there's a translation error there.
Oh, that's kind of so funny. All right, let's move on right along to the 90s. Though technically introduced in the mid 80s, Out of Control blank were an iconic candy for 90s kids. Other playful ones followed suit with Baby Bottle Pops, Push Pops, Bubble Jugs. It's all been rare. All being rare, but coveted scores on Halloween. Also, who can forget the super sour warheads trying not to pucker with each one of those, whatever. So, same category, big in the 80s. What do you think?
What do you think?
I was gonna say the Baby Bottle Pops because that came out the year it was
or the
born,
90s,
so.
not 80s. These are the 90s. Oh well, this one.
I mean the 90s. Sorry.
This one came out in the 80s, but it got real big in the 90s.
What was
they
that?
were Out of Control, is what it says.
Out of Control. Oh, I got it. I don't want to say it, but I got it.
The one with the powder?
Leah, do you have a guess? Because Chris seems pretty confident.
Is it the one with the pixie sticks?
Like just pixie sticks? No, they're not. It's not the pixie sticks.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain I know what you're talking about.
I think you probably have it. What do you think it is?
Airheads?
Yep, Airheads. That's exactly right.
Out of Control.
Yeah. All right.
You know, Chris is a big candy fanatic. No wonder
the commercials
he's
where the guys would eat it and their heads would turn into balloons and they'd blow up.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of like the chewy fruity ones because then they get in your teeth and then they're just like stuck in your teeth.
Oh, I love Airheads.
I like the sour candy.
Love Sour Patch Kids. Not a huge fan of Airheads.
Mm-hmm.
This next one,
I like the dust on the bottom of Sour Patch Kids when you finish the bag and there's all that sugar sour dust on the bottom.
So
Stop! You're making my mouth water.
Right now. I wish I had some candy to eat. All right, let's move on to the 2000s. This one is a little bit crunchy, a little bit chewy. The 80s and 90s trends continued well into the 2000s. I love how I said I wasn't going to be reading about any of this. We were just going to be going through it, and now I'm reading it. Continued well into the 2000s with the popularity of cookies and cream chocolate bars, Sour Patch Kids, and another one that's the actual one they were all soaring. First introduced in the mid-90s. It's a slight gummy candy with something attached to it. It was a big candy item. I'm trying to read it, but also not give it away. Big in the 2000s. I don't know if I've ever actually had one of these, but it's a gummy string basically attached with a candy on the end, throughout it.
I have no idea what you're talking about. And we grew up in the 2000s. How should we not know that?
I really butchered the giveaway. It's Nerds Rope.
Oh, that was big. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
but
we used to have that all the time.
It's saying that Nerds Rope was super popular. Cookies and cream chocolate bars, which I would agree. The Hershey cookies and cream chocolate bars, those were so good. Sour Patch Kids, it said those were all popular. And now finally, we've got to come to the 2010s. And then maybe we'll go through by state or more recent years. So overall in the 2010s, I don't know when this was written. Does this say when this was written? In 2019. So it was written in October of 2019.
Okay,
so
last year, what was the
overall,
most?
2010s.
Okay.
All right. Before I give you guys any sort of hints from the description, I'm gonna let you guys guess. What do you think? And also, some of your guesses will probably end up being like there was a few candies that were popular like year by year. So for overall, like you'll probably end up guessing ones that were popular. Like there's another really big one. There's a few other really big ones that you'll probably end up guessing. But
Okay.
yeah, what do you think was the most popular candy according to this source? Who knows if it's accurate? What do you think?
If I guess it, don't give it away.
Okay.
Is it Starburst? Well, I'm not going to ask. Is it I'm guessing Starburst.
Yeah, I was gonna go with that too, just because I remember they were like that was the thing in like every single candy.
everywhere.
Yeah. All right. It's not Starburst.
Oh
It is
my goodness.
very close to Starburst. So I'm going to give you another chance to guess. It is a fruity flavored. It's not chocolate. Some other big ones that I thought you might have guessed were M&M's, Snickers, Reese's. Those were also huge in the 2010s. But this one is a fruity flavored one. So I'll give you one more chance to guess.
You want to grab that one?
No, you grab it. I'm gonna.
I'm going to guess Skittles.
Okay, I'll go with that. I see that Skittles. Yeah.
Are you both okay? It was Skittles. Yes.
Yeah, that's my favorite candy.
So it says, what's old is new again in the 2010s, despite a movement towards healthier Halloween treats and new confections, such as candy, corn-flavored cookie bars, and new flavors of M&M's. Classic candies are what most commonly found in trick-or-treat bags. The most popular candy in 2018 was Skittles, while other commonly found candies include M&M's, Snickers, and the ubiquitous Reese's. While you can still find plenty of classic candies and nutrients in bags, there are plenty of vintage candies. And then it goes into some other weird link. So those were decades. What do you guys think about that?
The 50s were a wild time.
Shockingly not a lot of chocolate from the I think the only after like the 50s and on. It was never chocolate.
The 50s in general were a wild time. If that's the candy that people are eating.
Atomic fireballs? Yeah.
Atomic fireballs and literal circles of chalk.
Those are so good. Those are so good, though. I'd have you try one, Chris, but you don't like anything spicy. So.
I'd pucker my lips.
I got a few other lists, which goes year by year from 1960.
Okay, well, why don't we do 2000?
That's a lot of years.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. So I'll scroll through it. I'll list off some as I go while I'm scrolling back. So, because like 1960, it claims, well, I'm just going to try and ramble some off. Just also get some more time. So 60s, we got Swedish Fish were big, Now and Later, Sweet Tarts, the $100,000 bar. I had never heard of that. Starburst, Fruit Stripes, Laffy Taffy started getting big in the 70s with Blow Pops, Push Pops, Jelly Beans, Tootsie Rolls, Twix. Love Twix. We haven't talked about Twix.
Oh, I love Twix.
Started get big in the 80s with Reese's Pieces. What else? Skittles started to get big in the 80s. Sour Patch Kids are back. Airheads, Push Pops, Hershey bars are big. 90s. That's like was their biggest year. Reese's are in 91. Dove chocolate bars, cookies and cream, Starburst.
What was the candy from? I don't know if it was the 90s or the early 2000s, but it was like a lollipop. I mean, it wasn't a lollipop, but it was like a candy, and you'd put like sour drops on it.
Oh, the Juicy Drop Pop.
Juicy Drop Pop. That's what it was.
I love those.
And people would be like, "Well, I'm putting 3 drops on my Juicy Drop Pop." Whoa! I'm putting 6 on mine.
Oh my god! I don't think I ever had that. We should have gotten sponsored by a candy company for this. We should have gotten some candy.
That's radical. I'm not even putting it. I'm just gonna suck it right from the.
All right. So, do we want to go from the 2000s or the 2010s? Do we want to go a little more recent?
2010 up.
All right. Let's do 2010 up, and then we'll reevaluate. I might go through a little bit of by state. There's a little bit of controversial ones. All right. So I will start. Just giving away a brief preview of the variety. 2007 was candy corn. 2008 was gummy bears. 2009 was Milky Ways. So already 3 years before 2010s. Completely different. So 2010, which also I have no idea where any of this is from. I don't know where they did all this research. This could be completely different from the other source. It's usually pretty common, but anyway. 2010. What do you think the most popular candy was.
2010.
I'll give a little hint.
This is
It's
like
peak
candy when we're
it
trick or treating. We
constantly-
should know this.
Constantly hovers at or near the top of every. This is the
Reese's.
most popular Halloween candy in every state list.
Did you
Kit
say
Kat.
Reese's? Because I think it was Reese's.
It was not Reese's. It was Snickers. 2010. Biggest candy was
Oh,
Snickers.
those are so good.
But keep
those
this
were
in
everywhere.
mind because they will be coming back a lot.
Snickers.
2011. I don't think I've ever heard of this one, but apparently they were introduced specifically for Halloween that year, and they were super successful. I will give you a hint. It is not. There's no chocolate. It was introduced in 2011. I've never heard of it. I don't even know if you guys have heard of it.
Is it like in
No,
liquidy form
it's
or no?
It's not a liquid. It's like bubble. It's a type of bubble gum.
Job?
Bubblegum.
But
Just for Halloween?
Yeah,
Wait,
I
Well,
don't
they
know.
weren't that successful if it's not coming up to our heads.
is it the blow
it's a
bubble gum like with the yellow wrapper?
Double
and blue?
bubble painter's mouth coloring bubble gum. I've never.
I
Remember that?
remember that.
Uh-huh.
Not in my neighborhood. We didn't get that stuff.
I remember I got that, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" I think I gave it away.
Do you remember the stuff
but-
that it was like you'd put it on your tongue and it would be a tattoo?
Oh, wasn't that
Mhm.
one of those?
No, it
Tootsie,
wasn't
not
Tootsie.
Tootsie Rolls. That's
Fruit
something
roll-ups?
rolls.
Fruit by the foot.
Fruit by the
Fruit
Foot.
roll-ups.
Fruit
Did those have those?
Fruit-
Yeah,
Well,
it's
either
all
one.
the same.
Yeah.
Chris, you and I just
did
did
one
that. Like, what was it?
like a year ago. We did that.
Oh,
Yeah.
putting, like,
And
a
it was
candy
like a bat or something.
Oh, that's so funny.
Mine was a ghost,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, I forgot about those. All right, 2012. I love this one. This is a big favorite of mine. It's got the chocolate. It's got other things in it that I won't give away. This is a big one. This is a big heavy hitter.
Did you say Twix? Was your
I
favorite?
didn't say Twix was my favorite. Twix is one of my favorites. It's not Twix. I'll give you a hint. It's not Twix.
Is it Reese's?
Oh,
It's not too far off from Twix. It's not Reese's. One more.
Snickers.
Kit Kat.
Wait, not
It's Kit Kat.
Snickers. Kit Kat. Yeah.
Hey.
Kit Kat's
Okay.
big in 2012. All right, 2013. So this was the year that Nestle announced that they and Bart Simpson would reunite for another campaign. You know, nobody better lay a finger on my blank. That one.
Oh, well, you
What do
just gave it away.
Exactly. Well, let Leah guess. Leah, were
I
you
don't
listening?
remember it though. Was it like a chocolate thing? It was chocolate. He liked chocolate, right?
I don't know. I don't think it's chocolate.
Do they have
Tootsie
chocolate?
Roll or
I don't think they have. Do they? I don't think.
I don't know The Simpsons that well.
Well, no, I
don't
think I
really
just
watch
quoted
it.
what was the ad, but I don't know if
He
No, I
quoted the
know, but I'm
slogan.
trying to remember what it was. I know that he did that, but I just don't remember what the candy was.
2013.
Can I give her a hint?
yes.
When you throw a ball to somebody and they don't catch it, you call them, they have what?
Butterfinger.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That's what it is.
I remember that.
2013 Butterfingers were huge. All right,
They're so good.
2014.
Butterfingers.
Another big one, another classic, possibly one of the biggest classics. We already talked about it a little bit. We didn't actually even give opinions on it, but I already mentioned it. It was one of the big ones in the decades. Huge. What do you think it is?
You said it's a classic?
I don't know.
Huge classic. It's like this is a good one. This is you guys definitely like.
Chocolate of
Is
some
it like
sort.
a recent classic or like an old classic?
No,
I get classic means old classic.
Well, it's from like it was one of those one from the decades. I forget which decade it was from, and I don't want to give it away.
Babe Ruth.
No.
Or
No.
or sugar babies. I don't know.
No.
I think you guys got it in you. Was a classic. I love how this whole podcast has just turned into me like giving you hints while you try and
I
guess.
know. Well,
Yeah. All right. Do you guys want to know?
Yeah.
yeah.
M&Ms.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
All right. Let's get some
Oh,
get
okay.
some hot takes on M&Ms. I like the normal M&Ms, but I like peanut M&Ms better. 100%. I will take
I
peanut.
really like
Peanut or
the-
pretzel.
I like the ones that have the people hated these. I loved them. They were like the crunchy M&Ms. And
Crispy
they had
ones?
like the cookie on the inside. Yeah, the crispy M&Ms.
Oh
I love them.
Yeah.
Because those
yeah.
are like
no.
what's the one that's like crunch, like the Reese's in it. Crunch are those Crunch bars with the Reese's in it? Not the Reese's. Rice Krispies. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mhm. Rice- those are
The Crunch
good.
bars, the ones with
Mm.
Rice
Krispies are
Krispies.
good.
Those were
Crunch
so
Bars have
good.
Rice Krispies?
I think so.
I don't know those rice. I thought it was something else.
I thought
But
so.
yeah, no, those are good.
So yeah, anyway,
M&Ms are really good.
Hot takes on yeah, Chris. What do you think about M&Ms?
M&Ms are good. I just can't have a lot of them because they get like boring after a while. Like
Oh.
it's like, oh, it's chocolate. Like they're all like
it'll melt on your fingers. I don't like getting the coloring on my fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leah, what do you think about M&Ms? You just said pretzel M&Ms, which I think pretzel M&Ms might compete with. They might be better. I don't even know. Definitely pretzel versus peanut. It depends on the mood that I'm in. That's a toss up. It's up there. It's so good.
When I'm at a
Peanuts
movie,
are good too.
I'll get like, when I'm at a movie and stuff, I'll get like peanut or pretzel M&Ms with like a Coke or something.
Yeah,
why
no,
not?
that's a classic. That's a good one. I'm glad we can have some M&M hot takes. All right, this one, it's 2015, and so I don't completely remember it. It must have been a limited edition one, but it's a limited edition flavor of something that you guys have guessed constantly. You've stopped guessing it, but it was a flavored version of something you guys have already guessed. Limited edition. I'm gonna see if you guys can get it, or at least guess what it is. You've guessed it a lot, and then you stopped guessing it.
I feel like the runs
stop.
or the. I'm gonna go back to my usual.
Not
I'm gonna go back to the runs. I'm gonna go back to the
classic.
Laffy Taffy.
Think of like not plain, but like the plainest straight like candy, like classic
Hershey bar.
Yeah.
Hershey's.
All right, it's limited flavor Hershey's bar. What do you think it is?
Pumpkin spice.
No. Another
Yeah,
Halloween flavor. Very Halloween-esque.
Chai tea.
Chai is a
very
Halloween flavor to you?
Very Halloween of you, Leah.
Yeah.
Chai's not a Halloween thing.
Well, it's like wintry.
No, this is like only like this would only be big on Halloween. You would not eat this at any other point. I'm not even a fan of this flavor. I don't like them.
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, candy corn.
Oh,
Correct.
That's disgusting. That was the most popular candy that year.
Candy corn bars. Yeah, sounds disgusting.
Ew.
That's disgusting.
All right, 2016. Huge, love them. One of my faves. The miniature ones, fantastic. Full-size ones, fantastic. It's chocolate.
Anything miniature size is just not fun unless it's ponies or dogs.
Best way to do these miniature ones, the bags of the miniature ones, toss them in the freezer, eat them. They're like frozen. So good. Yeah, Leah's got something else going on. We can come back to that later.
Crunch bars.
No.
Snickers.
No.
You frozen. You said frozen.
Yeah, you could freeze them. They're so good, like frozen.
I
don't know. That might be a hot take, actually. It's not a conventional way to eat them.
Miniature.
Kit Kat.
Is it chocolate or no chocolate?
It's chocolate. You guys have guessed it. It hasn't been on anything yet, but it's like possibly the biggest candy. I mean, I'm saying 2016. Yeah, Reese's.
Is it the Twix?
I'm saying hot take.
Reese's in the fridge.
Yeah,
what?
put Reese's in the. One of my friends, freshman year, he would put them in the freezer and then eat them. They were so good.
That is good. That is good.
Yes.
I hate Reese's. I hate Reese's. I can't eat
You don't
them.
like Reese's?
No, I trade them. Those are prime trading though.
Those were your trades?
We'd come back from Halloween and I'd have a ton of Reese's and I'd pull them all together and I'd trade them to my brother for like his Starbursters Skittles. That was a prime draft pick.
That is a prime trade. It's so interesting to see because I am fine with Starburst. I don't love Starburst. Skittles, honestly, I don't love Skittles. They're just too chewy.
Well, I'll take those from you and I'll give you the Reese's.
What I'm saying is that's interesting to see you like that. I like, the Reese's, the Kit Kats, the Twix, your Crunch, the very like chocolate with stuff. Leah, what kind of Chris is more the sweet, not as much chocolatey favorites. I'm a big fan of the chocolately favorites. What do you like?
I love anything sour, and my parents know me that I'll go for like. I like the Almond Joy as well because it has coconut, so I like sour and coconut.
Almond Joy.
Oh.
Isn't Almond Joy the one with the chocolate and the coconut?
Yeah.
And the
that's
almond.
So good.
That's the stuff that you like toss out at the end of the year because it went bad.
You give that to me then.
We really just covered the 3 different kind of categories of like not really chocolate, big chocolate, and other.
See, I don't like chocolate. I really don't like chocolate unless I'm craving it.
Yeah.
All right. I have to be craving it.
Will you get a Kit Kat bar?
Oh God, don't you? I gained like 20 pounds.
I love Kit Kat.
I remember that. I used to give you Kit Kat.
I have one more left. I should have said this one before we started talking more, which we can still talk more. But so this is the last one. This must have been put out in 2017 or 2018 because the last one that they have is 2017. The only hint I'll give is that we've already talked about it. It's a repeat from another previous one in the past decade. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to back up.
What year is this?
2017.
2017. Did I even go trick-or-treating in 2017?
That was like our freshman year of college. You definitely didn't go trick-or-treating. You might have gone out, but
Oh,
you didn't go
wait.
trick-or-treating.
I'm dumb. Yeah, I'm dumb.
I'm gonna go with Twix.
All right. Chris, final answer.
Kit Kat bar.
It's Reese's.
No, get that out.
Yeah, 2016
That's
and 2017 are
dumb.
both Reese's.
I don't get the hype.
All right. Wrapping up, these are, I'm just going to blow through them. I'm not even going to have you guess. Actually, I'm going to have you guess the top 3. We're going to do one more quick guessing thing, and then we're going to wrap up candies. Official lineup, top 10 Halloween candies in America. We've already talked about a lot of them. Number 10, big one. You guys keep guessing it. It was never it. What do you think it is?
Hershey bar.
100%. Number 9, definitely a favorite of Leah's. I love it too. What do you think?
Almond Joy.
Sour Patch.
Sour Patch Kids, correct.
Oh, I said Almond
Number
Joy.
8. No, you think Almond Joy is number 9?
Well, I think because you said Leah liked it, so I said Almond Joy because you singled her out.
It's good. It's not my favorite, but I will have
someone's got to
them.
have that out of the bag. When you're doing the trading, you need to balance it out. You need to have someone who likes the Almond Joys, and you got to have the trades.
Almond Joy's got to get.
You don't like Reese's.
Okay, go.
You're trading up the Reese's. So there's a lot of big traders. All right. Number 8 has not been mentioned at all. I don't love it. I feel like Chris might eat it. I don't think it's chocolate flavored. I honestly don't know what flavor it is. I feel like it's its own flavor. It comes in a little wrapper. You gotta unwrap it. It's chewy. That's what I'll say about it.
Tootsie Roll.
Yes. I also just realized I misread that. It was actually Tootsie Pops, but that's on me. I just saw the
I
Tootsie.
love those. Tootsie Pops are so good.
Oh,
I don't like Tootsie Pops. Yeah.
Those are gross.
All right, number 7. We touched upon it. It wasn't in it. Classic cinnamon flavor. Number 7.
Oh, the Fireball, right?
It's not the Fireball. It was the hot tamales, but we mentioned another big one.
Okay.
All right, number 6. Huge thing. Literally only popular the week of Halloween. I think it's absolutely disgusting.
Those candy
Yes.
corn.
Candy corn.
Number 5, one of Chris's favorites.
Starburst.
The Starburst.
Yes, Starburst.
Skittles.
Starburst. Number
They don't get
4,
enough credit.
we mentioned it a few times. I'm a big fan of it because I'm a big fan of like peanuts and stuff. But number 4, peanuts.
Twix or Snickers?
Snickers.
Reese's.
Or peanut M&Ms.
It was
Oh.
Snickers.
Okay.
Snickers.
Snickers, okay.
Number 3 for official lineup of top 3 Halloween candies in America.
Swear to
Why
God,
don't
if
you guys
Reese's
guess?
is in the
1,
top
2,
three.
3. Number 3. What do you think?
Swear to God.
You're gonna be fine with how this ends up. You're gonna be okay.
It's gonna be some Mars company,
Number
some Mars
3.
products.
It's one of the biggest candies in the world.
Hershey's or
M&Ms.
Reese's.
It's M&Ms.
Okay.
Number 2. Chris doesn't like it, but I love it.
I'm not guessing.
Chris,
What? You don't like
Runts.
it. I love it.
It's Runts.
No, I don't think
I'm
it's
No,
joking.
you-
Of course I know it's not that.
Number 2.
the-
What do you think it is, Leah?
the Twix, that thing, right?
Reese's.
I hate it. I hate it. He likes it. For
He
some
is-
reason,
I don't know if you like Twix. Do
No,
you?
it's Reese's.
I love Twix. I love Twix.
Oh,
He says
okay.
Reese's.
Peanut butter
Okay,
cups.
Reese's.
And for the number 1 pick, Chris loves it. It's not my favorite.
His like Skittles or whatever.
Skittles.
Uh-huh. For the win. At where number 1 where they should be.
They really shouldn't be. But, some things, there's this list. We're not even going to super get into it. We're going to start to wrap this up. But most popular Halloween candy by states, it's all whack. It's all whack.
Oh,
I'll,
I bet Massachusetts is disgusting.
I'll list off some states. So I'm in Connecticut.
I love how you have such good faith in your state.
Oh no, but we have such weird people.
Oh,
that
we'll
live
get
here.
to Mass. Oh, they're not
gonna be
bad. They're not
It's gonna
bad.
be like Almond Joy.
Well, funny you
I
mentioned
hate to
almond
pick
joy.
on you, Leah. I'm sorry.
All right.
It's good. Until you try it, you cannot knock it.
It's probably gonna be $100,000.
All right, here's what we got. We'll just list off a few big states. We got Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut. We got Milky Way, Almond Joy, M&Ms. Could be better. That's like fine. Let's see. We got. I guess let's do Massachusetts. Top
I have
three.
no faith. I have no faith in the state right now.
You should have a little faith. Butterfinger, Sour Patch Kids, and Double Bubble Gum.
Yeah, why is double bubble? Okay, I can guess that.
Yeah,
I used to love
Butterfinger,
double
Sour
bubble.
Patch
That's
Kids,
good
not bad.
though. I like
Let's go down to
that.
New York. New York,
Hey,
hot
represent.
tamales, candy corn, and yeah, already I'm not even
Oh.
done. Hot tamales, candy corn, and to end it off on a good note, Sour Patch Kids. So that's pretty
Wait,
good.
Leah said she
Hey.
likes all of those candies.
Do you like hot
Did you like?
tamales?
Did you like hot
What?
tamales? Do you like those?
I
Yeah.
think
she's a New Yorker.
I forgot what they look
Because
like.
you have
But
said that
Yeah,
you like
You
that.
do
Yeah,
live
but
in
the
New York.
candy
That's why I
corn,
said
you're
it.
tripping.
All right.
You like candy
What's
corn and
another?
you love Sour Patch
Let's
Kids.
let's pick a random state. Oh, you know
Texas.
what? Texas. Reese's Cups, Starburst, Sour Patch Kids. That's a great lineup. That's a good blend.
Well, I don't like the
Mhm.
Reese's, but everything else is fine.
Overall, that's a pretty good lineup. Compared to Tennessee, Tootsie Pops, Skittles, Saltwater Taffy. That's not
I could live in
Ugh.
Tennessee. Saltwater Taffy's got a special place in my heart.
some
Mm.
other candies on
Ugh.
this list that we haven't even really touched upon. Jolly Ranchers are big
Oh,
in a
I
few
love
of these states.
those.
I mentioned
I have a
that,
problem with Jolly
remember?
Ranchers,
I
though.
mentioned that.
I do like Jolly Ranchers. I'm a big fan
I
of
have a
Jolly
problem with them though.
Chris, what's your hot take on Jolly Ranchers?
Jolly Ranchers are amazing.
Yes.
But if you have too many of them, they will destroy the inside of your mouth.
100%. I agree.
Why? Wait, what?
You get like
Actually?
sharp, and also your mouth is just kind of coated. And
Well, your
like-
mouth gets like,
Mm.
maybe this is just me, but your mouth kind of gets like cut, like your
Yeah,
like the
no, I'm
sugar
with you.
cuts your mouth.
yeah, it gets
Not
sharp.
not the sharpness. I'm saying like having the short like the Jolly Rancher in your mouth, having it dissolve on your tongue and
Mhm.
everything. After a while, it like destroys the inside of your mouth. Like it kind of corrodes.
That's kind
the
of
inside
like
of your
having
mouth.
too many warheads, though.
Yeah, well,
Like,
that's
have
the
you
same
had-
thing. Yeah.
It hurts. It hurts.
True. Some other big candies on this that we didn't hugely touch upon. Twix is a lot on
those.
here. I love Twix. Big fan of Twix. Let's see what else there is. Hershey Kisses. I could mess with some Hershey Kisses.
Those are good.
They're good.
Yeah.
Lemon Heads.
Oh,
I don't know if I've ever
have
had
you
a
heard
lemon head.
Those
Have
are
you ever had the
good.
Hershey Kisses where it's white chocolate and milk chocolate wrapped together?
Yeah.
hugs? Oh, they're so good.
Mm,
Isn't there a Hershey Kiss where there's like one on the outside, like a harder shell on the outside? It's almost like those what are those little circle?
Lindor.
Yeah, it's
truffles?
almost like Lindor truffles, but it's like a Hershey's. I feel like I've seen.
I know the
those.
one that they
That's
put
weird.
like cherry crap on the inside and it just explodes with horribleness
like-
in your
Ew.
mouth.
There's like cookies and cream Hershey Kisses. Those ones are pretty good.
Those are good.
There was one other one on this list that I feel like we haven't touched upon. Where was it? Where did you go? Milky Way. We didn't talk about a huge amount. I like Milky Way. I feel like it's
I
an
don't think I've
underrated.
had Milky Way that much.
That's not my go-to.
And no, it's not my go-to either.
That's not
But
my go-to.
I think besides that, Hershey mini bars. People talk about like the Goodyear, like those Good Bar.
Oh,
whatever
yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
slap. I love those. Those are great. 'Cause
Yeah.
I like the peanuts. Big fan of peanuts. Blow pops. We talked about
I like
right.
blow pops.
Blow pops are fun. I'd give those to my campers if they were well behaved.
The gum on the inside of blow pops like tire my jaws a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah. No,
They're
that's
really rough.
And then it gets like hard, and then it gets really
Yeah.
chalky.
Yeah, and then like your mouth is sore, like you just did a workout with
Exactly.
your jaw.
yeah.
Well,
Oh,
you know
and
when
then-
you chew gum for like a while, that it is a workout. Anyways, Gavin,
Yeah.
yes.
No, I was gonna say another one we didn't super touch upon. Swedish Fish. I think those are a very good gummy candy. They're not too gummy. They don't get stuck in your teeth too much.
They're
I'm a-
really good.
I like
yeah.
those. And then finally, Lifesavers. We didn't touch upon those at all.
Oh, I
What
like
do you-
those.
I like
I'm
the hard
blinking.
ones.
What do
I
those
like-
look like?
It's like
They're,
like
um,
little
they're circles.
and then
They're
there's
like little
sometimes
hard
they're
circles.
hard that you suck on them, or there's gummy Lifesavers. Those ones are also good gummies. Those slap.
Wait, that sounds. I'm looking those up because
When we go skiing, we'll get the mints
those.
Yeah.
and we'll put them in our pocket,
Yes.
and then we'll just, on the
Pop.
chairlift, we'll take them out and put them in.
That's great. They're great.
Nice.
All right.
It's a nice
So
one.
to wrap up this candy thing, it's time to wrap up my segment. But all-time favorite candy. I know it's a tough choice for me. So if we have to do top 2 or top 3, I'm willing to do it. But if you could narrow it down to just, I honestly don't even know if I can narrow. I could do. Oh my god! Now that I'm thinking about this, I don't even know what I'd do. I could do like top 3, but
I
so
I
can
know
number-
what I could do. Oh, I could do top one, right?
Leah. Top
right
candy.
off the bat, man. If I had a big bucket of the juicy drop pop stuff, I'd be satisfied.
I thought you were gonna say Sour Patch Kids. Those are so good. I think I got more into Sour Patch Kids like recently, within the past like maybe 5 years. I feel like I got like more into those.
Those are good, but I mean, when I get those juicy drops, that's the first thing. You know, I'm going after.
All time favorite candy, just top favorite.
All time?
Maybe not all time, just or current.
I can do top 3.
All right, I'm down for top 3 because I might do top 3.
Top 3 in order.
Yes.
Kit Kat, number 3.
100%.
Starburst, number 2. Skittles, number 1.
Yeah. Oh, we knew it was.
Wait, Kit Kat?
Oh yeah.
No, you have never told me you like Kit Kat. We're gonna talk about that later. But
okay, so when I used to buy you those bags of Kit Kats, the little ones. Do you know the little Kit Kats? Who ate half of those? Me. All right. We used to get. Because
I would eat Kit Kats
on Valentine's Day. My mom used to give me candy on Valentine's Day. We used to have. It was a box of Kit Kats, like a heart-shaped box, and inside was like little individual, like half-size Kit Kat rectangle things. Mm-hmm. And I would eat the entire box in like an hour. It was bad.
That's disgusting. That's not a thing to flaunt.
Gavin, what about you? Good. I mean, Kit Kats were possibly going to make my top 3. I would say top 3. I can't rank them, but Kit Kats are up there. 3 Musketeers are up there. And gosh, maybe peanut M&Ms. I really big fan of those. So I think that wraps up Gavin with Gavin, Spooky Edition, Candy Edition. That's all I have to say about candy. We went on for a little while about candy, but that's the candy section. And if you're clicking on this from Timecodes, here it is. It's time. We're going to move right along. Chris, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
Are you ready?
You love my
if we're clicking on times, it's time.
It's time. All right.
So for my segment, I'm going to be treating all you spookies out there for some spooky stories. A lot of these stories I was reading, a lot of these stories are scary.
Spooky. I feel like we should have done more spooky stuff.
You can do that.
I feel like we should have recorded this during the day. That's what I feel like we should have done.
True. We also should have recorded this after our little, before our timeout, because I lost all of my momentum going into this thing. So now I'm like very awkward in the mic going, all right, now we got some stories.
It's all edited. There was no break. We just went right along. There was no break.
All right. There's no break. I'm going to let you guys decide which one to do first. I'm not going to give you the name, but we got a thing called High Beams, and we got a story called The Babysitter. What do we want to do first?
I know The Babysitter.
You do The Babysitter first?
Is this a
wow.
Let's find out.
All right. Let's just get into it. It's all.
I think it's the bubba. Leah, did you ask it? Is it the bubba da bubba or the bubba da bubba? I think it's the bubba da bubba one. I think it's the one that goes bubba da bubba. All right.
To clarify, Leah did hand motions with each of those things, but Chris is just poking fun. All right. Let's go with the bubba da bubba da bubba.
Okay.
I don't want to listen to it.
Leah, it's fine. We're
here. It's not that bad.
I'm
sorry I hyped you guys up. I'm sorry I hyped you up, Leah. All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
There was a young girl who was in need of a job, was able to find work as a babysitter for a couple who lived in a large, isolated old house. They were going out to see a movie that night and left the teenage babysitter in charge of their 3 young children. The babysitter put the children to bed when it got late and then went downstairs to watch some television. She was just getting comfortable when she heard the phone ringing. When she answered it, all she heard was heavy breathing, followed by a man's voice asking, "Have you checked the children?" Freaked out, she hung up the phone, trying... Yes.
Chris, no
voices.
No.
Okay, no voices.
No, do voices. I like voices. This already just sounds like Scream or something.
Have you checked the children?
Hey, have you checked the kids yet? Have you checked all the children? Have you checked where we were at? Just to recap, have you checked out the children?
Have you checked the children? Freaked out, she hung up the phone, trying to convince herself that it was just someone playing a practical joke on her. She went back to watching television, but about 15 minutes later, the phone rang again. She picked up the receiver and heard the hysterical laughter from the other end of the line, with the same voice asking, "Why haven't you checked the children?" The babysitter slammed down the phone. The poor girl was frightened out of her wits and immediately called the police. The operator at the police station told the babysitter that if the man called again, she should try to keep him talking. That way they could give the police time to trace the call. A few minutes later, the phone rang a third time, and when the babysitter answered it, she heard the heavy breathing again. The voice on the line said, "You should really check on the children." The babysitter listened to him laughing hysterically for a long time. She hung up the phone again, and almost immediately it rang again. This time, it was the operator from the police station who yelled, "Get out of the house right now! The calls are coming from upstairs." Oh, sorry. The calls are coming from the upstairs phone. The babysitter dropped the phone in shock, and suddenly she heard heavy footsteps walking down the stairs. Without pausing for a second, she ran out of the house as fast as her legs would carry her. Just as she closed the front door behind her, a man's hand slammed against the glass. She screamed and ran out into the street, and just as a police car was pulling up outside. The police searched the house and found the two children hiding upstairs in a closet, crying uncontrollably. In the parents' bedroom, they found a bloody axe lying on the floor next to the upstairs phone. The back window was wide open and the curtains were blowing in the breeze. There was no sign of the madman who had made the phone calls. He had escaped into the night when the police arrived and managed to interrupt his horrible plan to kill the two children and the poor babysitter.
I feel like the trope is always the calls coming from inside the house. Like I feel like that's
Yeah, but like if you knew where I lived, Gavin, like I'm facing pitch black woods right now, and although there's a house next
I'm also
to me,
in the same.
I have to take my dog. But I have to take my dog outside, and like.
Did you take him outside yet?
I tried. He didn't want to go.
All right. Well, he's not going out tonight.
No, he's not.
I know you. I know you.
Oh.
All right. Ready for the second one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless you want to talk about this one.
I was gonna say we only got what, 7 of them? You got 7 of them to talk about?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a good number.
That wasn't too bad, but still not my favorite type.
These are all like short stories, right? Like that?
Yeah.
I dig it. Cool.
Good. I'm glad you dig it. I dig it too.
I like the tropes of like it's inside the house.
I do too. Well, that kind of came from that story.
Yeah, I was about to say, I assume that was like one of the more original things of that trope that probably made the trope.
Leah, you mentioned one of your stories that you were scared about a clown.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's coming up.
I'll just get it over with. It's my next story that I'm going to say.
Okay. I'm going to give my reactions now. I'm not going to say the story, but I'm going to say, with that being said, I'm taking off my headphones for it.
You're not even going to listen?
No, I know the story. It's freaking
I'll listen.
out.
Chris, I'm here to listen.
I'll have it on.
Okay, so the version that I'm looking at right now is really not that bad. Because it doesn't. My dad just coughed downstairs. It gave me the willies. This isn't that bad.
House.
The cough came from downstairs.
Shut up.
It's his dad watching Thursday Night Football. Okay, so you ready to go? You ready?
Just try and make it as fun as you can, not scary.
All right. So this is called The Statue in the Corner. This is my least favorite horror story because I hate this one. Do you like this one? Okay.
No.
Emily? Is this Emily again? Wait, was the other babysitter named Emily too? Oh no, just as a young girl. Okay.
I was about to say, is this canon? Is this all happening?
She's had a bad luck with babysitting.
Oh no.
Emily is babysitting for a wealthy family. It's her first time at the house, and before leaving, the father tells her that after she puts the children to bed, she can watch TV in the children's game room. Later that night, after the children are asleep, Emily goes to the game room, turns on the TV, and sits down to watch a show. But she can't concentrate on what she's watching. Her attention keeps shifting to the life-size clown statue in the corner of the room. She tries to ignore it, but the statue draws her attention back over and over. So she ends up... this isn't in the thing, but I like the story where she walks over and puts the sheet on top of the clown statue. So she walks over and puts a sheet on top of the clown statue. Then her phone rings. It's the father calling to check on everybody. "The children are asleep," Emily replies, "and I'm just watching a show. Hey, would you mind if I watch TV in another room? The clown statue's kind of creeping me out." The what? Listen to me. Get the kids out of the house right now. I messed that up. Like, get the kids out of the house.
Yeah, we get the
what?
gist.
Listen to me. Get the kids and get out of the house now. The source that I'm getting this from, there's no resolution to this because they try to like add different endings to the story, and I didn't really like any of these ones. But what happened at the end of the story was the clown statue is not a clown statue. It's actually a serial killer who dresses up like a clown, and he was standing in the corner of the room. And so she actually walked over and put a blanket on top of the clown statue that was actually a person.
Yeah.
I guess my question is like, how in the world could you stay that still and not
even
blink?
not even blink.
Move an inch. Another source that I got that also had this said, if I can go find it, clown statue. Bottom line, clowns are creepy. Clowns are creepy, and this legend doesn't help. The story goes that a babysitter of a wealthy family was told to watch TV in a specific room after the children went to sleep. While there, she got creeped out by a clown statue and called the parents to ask if she could leave rooms. They instructed her to grab the kids, leave the house, and call the police. Why? Well, the kids had been complaining of a clown watching them in the middle of the night, and the parents thought it was just nightmares. Turns out it was a little person dressed as a clown stalking them. So that's
spooky.
That's spooky.
That almost seems like
I think I would have preferred that one.
That seems like a slightly different version because then it's just like
Yeah.
not that there's like the moment that you said that she had to go like watch TV and like you had said the title was like a statue in the room, I was like, oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I hate this one because when I was a kid, this freaked me out the most.
Oh yeah, this is spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one freaked me out.
I thought it was going to be that like she went to go continue or something and like the statue was gone or the sheet was just on the ground.
Oh, wouldn't that be something?
Something like that.
Why y'all gonna do this to me?
She went to go get the kids, but the clown statue was gone, and something like that.
But the kids were gone, and there was a clown.
What was the year when the clown thing was like?
Was that 2016?
Really
that was 2017. That was when we were at college.
No, I think 16 or 17.
2016 was the year before we got to college.
Because a friend of mine, his quote unquote friend, was talking to one of these clowns, and I was like, "Yeah, you're a clown for talking to them." But
yeah, he actually bad ever happened to the clowns though.
No, but like they were scary.
Or did they not? It was just creepy. They were like coming out with stuff.
Yeah,
maybe
with like axes and.
That had to have been a cult, right? Of like clowns.
No, it was just a weird trend.
It was just a prank, like a really horrible prank.
Nationwide prank? Nah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that okay. After that happened, the country kind of went downhill with a lot of
Do you
stuff.
remember though? You couldn't wear a clown. I don't know if this was like rules for you guys, but you couldn't wear a clown costume to school. You couldn't have fake weapons as well as school. It's just like
I mean, I feel like that is also
thing. I mean, that is a thing, but like the clown costume, like
that was huge. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's move on to the next one.
Move on. All right. This story is called High Beams. If you are a fan of scary stories to tell in the dark, this is one of those stories that was in there. It's called High Beams. As the woman drove down a deserted highway, she noticed a lone pair of headlights quickly approaching her car from behind. When the car came closer, she noticed that it was going to overtake her. The car drew beside her, but then the driver suddenly swerved back behind her car. She started getting nervous and kept an eye on the strange car in her rearview mirror. He pulled up dangerously close to her rear bumper and began flashing his high beams at her. The headlights dimmed for a moment, and then the high beams flashed again, and the car behind her surged forward. The car followed her very closely, and on tight curves or over hills, he would flash his high beams on and off. The frightened woman struggled to keep her eyes on the road and fought the urge to keep looking at the car behind her. Finally, she approached her exit, but the car continued to follow, flashing the high beams again and again. The terrified woman looked for her mobile phone and dialed 911. When the operator answered, the woman screamed into the phone, "A car is following me! He keeps tailgating and blinking his lights at me!" The woman gave her address, and in a few minutes she saw the red and blue lights of a police car in the distance. She breathed a sigh of relief as she pulled into her driveway, but suddenly the strange car pulled into the driveway behind her and began blinking its lights on and off like a maniac. The police car screeched to a halt on the woman's front lawn, and two police officers jumped out with their guns drawn. They pulled the man out of the strange car and forced him to lie down on the lawn. When they handcuffed him, he screamed, "There's someone in her car! There's someone in her car!" The two policemen suddenly pointed their guns in the woman's direction and fired. The woman screamed, but when she turned around, she saw a bloody corpse of a murderer fall out of her back seat. There was a large butcher knife still clasped to his cold, dead hand. The police searched her back seat and found duct tape, a blindfold, and a pair of handcuffs lying there. The woman realized that the man in the strange car had been trying to save her. When the police released him, he explained that, as he pulled up behind her car and his headlights lit up her back seat, he had seen a man with a butcher knife raising up behind her. Just as the man was about to stab her, he flashed his high beams and the figure crouched back down. I flashed my high beams every time I saw him raise the knife, he said.
That's not as bad, because it was like a Good Samaritan kind of thing.
That's where I thought it was going. That's classic.
I've heard of this. Yeah.
So just that concept of like someone breaking into your car or house or something, like your personal space. That's just uncomfy.
But like, how could you not see someone in your rearview mirror being like, and like having a freaking machete in their hand?
That's what I was thinking about when I was, reading these stories.
Yeah. See, this is what TVR majors do. We just find every single possibility of like how this is not real.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good one. I like.
All right. Yeah, that one's my favorite so far.
And I take that.
The high beams, yeah.
I like it. It's if you didn't know it, I feel like it'd be like a twist.
Next one. Leah, you might not like this one, but have you ever heard of the story humans can lick too?
Lick or look?
Ugh.
Lick.
Oh. I've not.
Like cannibalism?
Well, you'll find out.
Oh.
No, not cannibalism. No, not
I don't want to be
cannibalism.
scared. That's why I'm like, please give an overview. But
Okay.
I know you can't.
That you don't like this one because you're a dog owner.
Oh no! Would I be
Okay.
scared? Would I actually be scared?
No, you'll be fine.
Okay.
The urban legend known as humans can lick too goes something like this. Once there was a nice old lady who had a lovely little dog. One day, the old lady heard on the radio that a crazy murderer had escaped from jail and that everyone should lock all their doors and windows to keep herself safe. So she locked every door and every window in the house except one tiny little one to let some air in. She thought that a murderer would never really be able to get in through that one small window. So that night, she went to bed as usual. She knew everything was okay because when she put down her hand, the dog licked it. But later in the night, she heard a drip, drip, drip. She put her hand down and the dog licked it. Figuring everything was okay, she went downstairs to check out the tap, but the tap wasn't dripping. So she went to bed again and everything was okay. She woke up again later in the night, though she thought the dripping sound must be coming from the shower. She went into the bathroom and there was her dog, dead, hanging in the shower. Dripping with blood, all his intestines hanging out. I should have cut that one out. Dripping with blood, all his thingies hanging out. Written on the mirror were the words, humans can lick too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard of that one.
That's I feel like it's like I'm like perking up whenever I realize like what the ending's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the same type of thing of people creeping into.
I mean, these are all kind of like.
They're not as scary as you thought they were going to be, Leah. Can you admit that?
Yeah.
It's not as bad, especially since you know.
It's like the concept as well, which is these concepts are possible, but at the same time, being the people that we are, we know that we can kind of digest and figure out, okay, this could happen, but it's kind of hard to see happen.
This one's kind of quick. I kind of want to put it just because we're college kids and we'll understand it. The roommate.
Oh,
this one, I heard this one recently. This one gave me the willies too. Okay, if you're currently living with a roommate, you might want to stop reading. The legend goes that there were two college dorm mates. One went to a party while the other stayed home to study. When the one girl returned home after a night of drinking, she saw her roommate lying in bed and fell asleep, thinking nothing was out of the norm. When she woke up the next day, she saw her roommate covered in blood and her throat slit. To make it worse, above her bed, the words, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?" was scribbled in blood.
Ooh. Is that implying that she was killed, that she came back and there was the dead body there?
So that implies...
That implies that she came back, she was there, and the killer was there.
And had she turned the light on, the killer would have killed her because she would have seen him with the dead body because he's a little sus.
Yeah.
Kill a little sus. I saw him kill the roommate.
White sus.
Oh,
yeah. I saw him kill.
That's spooky.
Yeah, spooky.
That's an interesting one. I thought it was going to be that like the roommate was the killer or something like that.
No. All right, we're getting close to the end of my stuff.
All right.
This one's called The Peephole.
Well, if...
The Peephole?
The Peephole.
Oh, fudge this one.
No, this one's not what you think. So The Peephole is a short, scary story about a young girl who is left home alone when her father goes out of town on business. They're all home alone. Everyone's home alone in these stories, which is great because I'm going to be home alone this weekend.
Well, where do you think, like, oh, that's nice.
That's nice. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't put myself in any danger because this isn't recorded, the same time. So I'm not going to be home alone on.
This was recorded weeks earlier, but
Right.
maybe I'll show up to your house this weekend.
Oh, Gavin, but I won't be here. I won't be here.
No, but you just said you're going to be home alone.
No. Whoa. Oh, you're saying, okay. All right.
Like, I'm saying you're going to have like a clown statue in your room and someone's going to lick your hand.
Don't. I'm sleeping
I
with
won't
my son.
I won't even get into that.
All right. A 15-year-old girl named Donna lived with her father in a small house in the suburbs. Ever since her mother died, Donna had depended on her father for everything. They had a wonderful relationship and loved each other very much. One morning, Donna's father was leaving on a business trip. As they ate breakfast together, he told her that he would be home very late that night. With that, he kissed her on the forehead, grabbed his briefcase, and walked out the front door. Later that day, when Donna came home from school, she did some homework and watched some TV. By midnight, her father had still not returned, so she decided to go to bed. That night, she had a dream. She found herself standing at the edge of a busy highway. Cars and trucks whizzed by at an alarming rate. She looked across the highway and saw a familiar figure standing on the other side. It was her father. His hands were cupped around his mouth, and he seemed to be shouting something at her, but he couldn't make out what she was saying. As the traffic whizzed by, she strained to hear. Her father's eyes were sad. He seemed to be desperately trying to communicate something to her. She could barely make out the words, "Don't open door." Suddenly, Donna was awoken from the dream by a strange tapping noise. I'm doing that with my fingers.
Chris.
Okay. Then someone began to ring the doorbell downstairs. Ring, ring, ring. She scrambled out of bed and put on her slippers. Then, dressed only in her nightgown, she ran downstairs and went to the front door. Looking through the peephole, she saw her father's face outside. He was staring right at her. The doorbell kept ringing insistently. "Okay, hold on, I'm coming," she shouted. She pulled back the deadbolt and was about to unlatch the door when she stopped. She looked through the peephole at her father again. Something about his expression didn't look quite right. His eyes were wide open, and he looked terrified. She slid the deadbolt back into place. "Dad," she yelled to the door. "Did you forget your keys?" Ring, ring, ring. "Dad, answer me." Ring, ring, ring. "Dad, please, I need you to answer me." Ring, ring, ring. "Is there someone else out there with you?" Ring, ring, ring. "Why won't you answer me?" Ring, ring, ring. "I'm not opening the door until you say something." The doorbell kept ringing and ringing, but for some reason, her father refused to answer her desperate cries. For the rest of the night, the frightened girl cowered in the corner of the hallway, helplessly listening to the ceaseless ringing of the doorbell. It seemed to go on for hours. Eventually, she fell into an uneasy sleep. At dawn, she woke up and realized that everything was quiet. She crept over to her door and looked through the peephole again. Her father was still there, staring at her. She cautiously opened the door and was confronted with a sight that filled her with an unimaginable horror. Her father's severed head was hanging from a nail above the door. There was a note attached to the doorbell in crude scribbled handwriting. It read, "Clever girl."
Yeah, I figured it was gonna either be a severed head or like skinned, like on some.
Oh yeah.
But I figured severed head was probably easier.
Lee, let me give you a little. Oh,
I figured it would be someone like holding it by the hair.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was initially.
That's crazy.
I'm going to give you a little psychology, Leah, about why you're scared, and this should comfort you a little bit. So the reason that you get scared when you're, right now you're probably really scared on the inside. That's because
even if I don't sound like it.
Yeah.
That's because your brain is thinking that these stories are real. Your brain can't tell the difference between real and fake. This is a behavioral thing. So it's like a natural thing. It's why we were able to survive for millions of years. Your brain is doing fight or flight, and it doesn't know which is a threat and which is fake. So your brain is going on the side of risk, which is saying it's real. So the thing you have to think about to calm your brain down is tonight is no different from yesterday and is no different from tomorrow. Your brain is just thinking tonight is scarier than usual because it's confronted with all these threats. So what you have to do is you have to think like, the only reason I'm scared right now is because I'm talking about scary stories. What are the chances that because I'm talking about scary stories, something's going to happen? What are the chances that it didn't happen last night or tomorrow night or tonight? There's no chance, you know? You're just...
that last part didn't help there.
What, the clever girl?
No, what's the chance of it happening like
Oh,
last
no,
night?
I'm saying it's zero. Like, have you ever had an encounter ever? No, because it's not going to happen. Your brain can't tell the difference between real and fake. So it's going on the side of real so that you stay alive in case there's like a saber-toothed tiger that jumps through the window.
That's nice. That's nice.
All
right, how many more do we have of this?
I have one, and then I wanted to go through. There's this new thing that I found that was called 2-sentence horror stories. Have you heard about those?
Oh yeah. Like everyone on that earth was dead, but then there was a knock at the door.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right, so we still got some good amount of time left in the Chris segment. Let's go.
Yeah. So this one's called The Thing.
The Thing.
There were 2 young boys named Trevor and Will. They spent most of their summer vacation hanging around town looking for things to do. One hot August night, the boys were sitting on a fence by the main road. There was a cornfield just across the road. Suddenly, Trevor spotted something in the field. In the darkness, it was difficult to make it out, but he thought it looked like some kind of weird animal. He nudged his friend and pointed in the direction of the strange-looking figure. Will said he could see it too, but he wasn't sure. But a mysterious thing seemed vaguely human. The next thing they knew, the thing was gone. The boys craned their necks and scanned the field with their eyes. Out of the blackness came the thing. It slowly walked over to the edge of the field before disappearing again. Trevor and Will looked at each other, puzzled. "What was that?" asked Will. "I have no idea," replied Trevor. No sooner had he said that, Trevor felt a clammy hand on his shoulder. He turned around and found himself staring directly into the hideous face of the thing. He let out a yell of terror and surprise. The rotting skin on the thing's face was coming off in places, revealing the bone underneath. For a moment, it just stared silently at Trevor, with its dark eyes sinking. Then, it grabbed a hold of his arm. Trevor felt its fingernails dig into his flesh as he wriggled out of his grasp. The 2 boys leaped off the fence and ran down the road, screaming in horror. They didn't stop running until they reached their homes. They tried to tell their parents and friends about the thing they had seen, but no one believed them. Which, by the way, I hate when that happens. No one believes you when you actually see something.
Yeah.
When Trevor woke up the next morning, the scratches on his arm were still there. After a few days, they got worse and worse. Trevor got sick, and his parents took him to see a doctor. After examining his arm, the doctor told the boy it was infected and gave him some pills to take. Unfortunately, Trevor's condition got worse and worse. The infection spread to his entire arm, and it wasn't long before his flesh was rotting and falling off. He was taken to the hospital, but no matter what the doctors did, no treatment seemed to work. The infection spread through his whole body. Trevor was confined to bed and started to waste away. It seemed like he was beyond help, and as the days went by, he steadily grew worse and worse. His anguished parents could only sit at his bedside and cry as they watched their beloved son slowly rotting away before their eyes. On the day that Trevor finally passed away, Will came to the hospital to visit him. When the boy walked into the hospital room and saw Trevor lying in bed, he was horrified. His friend looked exactly like the thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had a feeling it would be like that.
Yeah, that's the good one. Spooky. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that. Yeah, no, that's
spooky.
It's always, you didn't expect it was this person, and the call's coming from inside the house. But yeah, I like the brand of these short stories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't like terrifying. They're not like super gross or gory or anything. It could be worse.
No, they're not really. Oh, the only gory.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
Which I feel like Chris might have.
Yeah. He probably filtered some of those out. But so, Chris, you said that. So those are all of that type of story, correct?
Right.
So now you've got some shorter story, even shorter short stories, 2-sentence horror stories, right?
Right, I do. Well,
How many of them
nothing's prepared. I'm scrolling through Google Images right now.
That's
I'm gonna
fine.
read you some.
Yeah. All right. Well, then let's just start going through those. I dig them. You haven't even read any, and I already dig them.
There was a picture in my phone of me sleeping. I live alone.
Whoa. I feel like we have to end everyone being like, whoa.
Oh, you're going to get so annoyed after that. I was video chatting and dropped my phone on the floor. As I picked it up, my husband's face changed. He held his hands to his lips as if saying, "Be quiet." And to his horror, he wrote, "There's a man under your bed."
Oh, at first I was like, what? Is there someone on the ceiling?
Yeah.
Oh, because of the phone's under the bed. Yeah. Spooky.
My daughter is crying in her room because of a nightmare, so I went in to tuck her in. As I approached her room, I realized that the cries were being looped.
Ooh.
What?
That's like they were recorded.
It was a
or something.
recording of the cries.
Yeah, I got that, but like, how is that scary?
That like someone recorded it and now they're like they killed the kid and they're recording it and now they're playing it to get the parent to come. Maybe that's my takeaway from it.
No, I think you're right about that.
This one's funny. I'm gonna have to leave this sub. The crew looked on in horror as their captain opened the hatch at a depth of 2,000 feet.
That's kind of funny. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Opens up airplane door.
Oh, I thought you meant you're leaving the group chat. I was like, wait, what?
Exactly.
The longer I wore it, the more it grew on me. She had such pretty skin.
Ah,
Ew.
gross. I thought it was gonna be like a mold.
Ew.
So gross.
My daughter won't stop crying and screaming in the middle of the night. I visit her grave and ask her to stop, but it doesn't help.
Ooh.
Wait, what? Wait, read that again?
My daughter won't stop crying and screaming in the middle of the night. I visit her grave and ask her to stop, but it doesn't help.
I'm confused.
So
She's
the daughter's
dead.
crying. She's dead. She's crying. So he goes to the grave to say stop crying, but he still hears the cries in his head.
Well, I got the daughter was dead part, but okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing like the laughter of a baby, unless it's 1 a.m. and you're home alone.
Ooh.
It's a demon! Ooh, foreshadow maybe?
Foreshadow.
So Gavin with Leah.
Foreshadow.
So laughing with
Mhm.
Leah, chatting with Chris, laughing
Chatting with
Leah,
Chris. Laughing
Gavin
with
with
Leah.
Gavin. That's what those are all off the dome, guys. Just so clever. Any other good ones you finding, Chris?
She asked why I was breathing so heavily. I wasn't.
I wasn't breathing. No.
Oh, this one's good. Okay, this one freaked me out when I was in middle school.
Great.
A young girl hears her mother call her name from downstairs, so she gets up and starts to head down. As she gets to the top of the stairs, her mother pulls her back and whispers, "Don't go down there. I heard it too."
Yes, I've heard that one.
Yeah, I heard that.
That's a good one. Spooky. Ooh,
Oh, this one's the best one. This one's the best one. I don't care if I'm overtime. This one's the best
No,
one.
you're not overtime at all. But this will be the last. This is the last one. All right, best for last. Two-sentence story, Chris.
I begin tucking him into bed, and he tells me, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed." I look underneath for his amusement and see him, another him, under the bed, staring back at me, quivering and whispering, "Daddy, there's someone on my bed."
I remember that one.
Spooky.
How could the dad not tell though?
Well,
This
because it's like a shapeshifter.
Yeah, it's like the same
Oh,
thing.
true.
Spooky. Well, I guess that was chatting with Chris. Final thoughts on the short stories? I dig them. They weren't as
I
I'm
did
having
too.
a Red Bull tonight, and we're
No,
staying up.
you should not stay up all night. I don't think that was as bad as they were hyped up to be. Not bad as in they were stupid stories. Bad as in they weren't as
No,
scary.
they really weren't that bad.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think that when I was a kid, I remember those stories were really scary to me. Like
Yeah.
really scary to me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know why they were scary to me, but they really were scary to me. There was one, if I can say this off of memory, there was a story that really this is the one story that messed me up for a lot of my life. It's not gonna be scary because I'm telling it off of memory. It was these two girls that went to a toy store and they saw a doll that had two fingers up, like a peace sign, like smiling with a peace sign. And they're like, "Oh, that's cute. Like, let's get it." So they got the doll and they brought it home. And this kind of the thing where the doll would like be Annabelle and it was kind of walking around on its own, and it was like a haunted doll and was walking around. And so they realized that the doll was battery operated and the batteries died, but they noticed that the doll kept giggling and walking around at night and trying to climb up on the bed and everything.
Mm-hmm.
One day, the doll ended up with a knife and went and started attacking the girls and killed one of them, and one of the girls ran away. They brought the doll back to the store to say, take. Oh, I think I'm messing it up. But the girls, like one girl died and one girl ran away and took the doll and like threw it in the fire or something or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And as the doll was burning, she put 3 fingers up until to put her head down.
And she
You get it,
killed
Leah?
3. She killed 3.
So the 2 was because she killed 2 people. She killed one of them and put a third finger up.
Well, that actually is a perfect segue into my into my thing. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, now it's time for Laughing with Leah.
Yeah, more like Leah's gonna need to use the loo in a few seconds because she's gonna move her.
Great. It doesn't come right off the tongue as well, but we can work on it. So that was Chris with his short stories. Leah, now you've got some horror movies based on real life events. You're gonna tell us about some real life events. How many events do you have? Do you know how many you have? Do you have a number?
Yeah, like 11 or so.
Oh, that's a good amount. All right, so we can.
But we're gonna have to
we
like
can bang through
them
these.
just
All right,
ahead.
that's great. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So since Chris went with the Annabelle, which I think that story was kind of based off the Annabelle doll, I'll start with the Annabelle movie. So this movie is the Annabelle movie that was in 2014. So a little sum up is that in 1970, a 28-year-old nursing student named Donna had received a Raggedy Ann doll from her mother as a birthday present. Donna would keep the doll in her bed, but shortly after receiving the doll, Donna and her roommate Angie began to notice it in positions that they hadn't left, or that the doll was in a different room from when they last left it. Their friend Lou had a bad feeling about the doll and told Donna to get rid of it. And Donna would find pieces of parchment paper, which they did not keep in their home, with a message such as "Help us" or "Help Lou." One day it was noticed that Annabelle had drops of blood on her chest and hands, so Donna and Angie had contacted a medium. The medium conducted a seance which relieved the spirit of a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins, living in the doll. The so-told story is that Annabelle had died in a field where Donna and Angie's apartment was built. The medium said that Donna and Angie made Annabelle feel loved and that the spirit wanted to stay. Donna felt bad for the girl and gave permission for the spirit to live inside the doll. So now I'm kind of going to go off script. There we go. I just want to mention that if you guys are exploring a place and if you hear babies or children's, you should probably dip, because the fact that they're using little kids as a pawn usually means that there's a demon. So just a heads.
So demons use, because like you'll trust them more.
Yeah, because like you want to help kids. Your intention is to help kids or babies, so you want to go to it. You're going to the demon or whatever. So, yeah, this is fun, right? Lou, however, was not as accepting of the spirit's good intentions, which then led to one night Lou waking up from a bad dream to a sensation of paralysis. He looked down at his legs and saw Annabelle, who began to crawl up his body to his chest, where the doll started to strangle him. Lou eventually passed out, and the next morning he was convinced that the encounter had not been a dream.
Although, okay, so before we keep going, he's convinced that it's not a dream. But I've heard so many stories about sleep paralysis and sleep paralysis demons and all that stuff being like, that's a thing. Like sleep paralysis is a real thing. So if you said he's in a state of paralysis and he sees this happening, how can he be certain that was, I guess because he felt it maybe?
I mean, I have sleep paralysis. I don't know. I think you might know, Chris, but Gavin, I don't know if you know. And like, sometimes for me, and maybe for most people, that when you have sleep paralysis, the thing that, Chris, that I'm kind of like, how does he, because you're like, how does he know? How can he see? So when I get sleep paralysis, I can't move, first of all, and I don't want to look at like what might be there, even though there's like absolutely nothing there.
Yeah, aren't you like frozen?
Yeah, you're like frozen, and like that's why my dog Oishi I like him to sleep right next to me, because I can move the slightest just to like feel him, so he'll like calm me down.
Will he lick your hand? Call back. That's a call back.
No, you won't.
Oh my god.
Call back to Chris.
It just clicked with me that you were doing that.
Call. Anyway, continue.
One day, Lou was attacked again by the doll with scratches and blood marks that had instantly disappeared. At this point, Donna had decided enough was enough and contacted a priest, who then contacted a higher priest, who then contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren.
I thought you were going to say a higher priest. You're just going to keep going up to the priest.
How much higher could you go?
Pope. They called the Pope.
They called the Pope. Okay. Ed and Lorraine Warren had decided that Annabelle was not possessed because objects cannot be possessed. Annabelle, instead, was being manipulated by an inhumane demonic spirit who was using the doll to search for a human host. And according to the Warrens, the doll was only a few weeks away from completing its infestation, which could have resulted in Donna, Angie, or Lou's death.
So basically, these like people were like, "Yo, the doll sus." I saw the doll vent. The doll sus. And then they were like, "Vote the doll out." And then the priests were like, "Nah, sus."
So
But it was that was a little Among Us reference for people out there.
Yeah, I guess so.
My mind hasn't completely transitioned from the fact that we were just talking about stories to now this is like real.
This is a real thing.
My mind is still not comprehending the fact that this was like a real thing that happened. This also happened in Connecticut, didn't it? I'm pretty sure at least the doll is
Yes,
from
I'm
Connecticut.
pretty sure.
I'm
Well, I
pretty
know
sure
the Warren's house is in
Yeah, I think the dolls. It's in Connecticut or New York.
It's in
I think it's Connecticut.
recently.
Connecticut's
Oh,
a very
lovely.
haunted state.
It is. But I think
Can we?
Wait,
Do
let
you
me talk
guys?
let me talk. Apparently, I think recently they thought the doll went missing because I remember reading that they're like the Annabelle doll went missing, and everyone was like, "What?" And then they were like, "This place that's RB. It did not go missing. That's a lie." But everyone's like, "That sucks."
That's actually funny that you go, and everyone went, "What?" Because that's what people would go. They'd go, "What?"
I'm sorry. What? This haunted doll is missing?
I'm sorry.
What?
Who's missing now?
Sorry. What?
All right, Leah, go for it.
All right. Anyways, Donna then had asked Ed and Lorraine to remove Annabelle, but I'm telling you, Annabelle did not go without a fight. The Warrens claimed that their car would swerve on its own and that the brakes would fail. Okay, so again, this is also off script.
Script. Yeah.
Okay.
Off script.
Yeah. Okay.
That's enough. Off script.
There were 2 instances where Annabelle was being taunted with, and people had thought that she was harmless, and little did they know how wrong they were. One instance was where a guy came over to Ed and Lorraine Warren's house and kind of knocked on the glass and was like, "You're just a doll. You can't do anything." Well, his brakes had stopped working when he approached an intersection. Luckily, he survived, but he was in the hospital. So that was the first thing.
Ooh.
The second thing is that there was a couple that I guess had visited the house, and that again the guy had tapped on the glass and was like, "If you're real, then you hurt me, then you try and like kill me or do something." So as the couple was going back home, since they were escorted out by Ed because he did not like that, the guy got in a motorcycle accident and was killed.
Ooh.
This doll, dude.
So that doll put some curse on him, or not the curse, but the demon that was possessing the doll somehow made the motorcycle crash on the way home.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. If you were taunted, would you like to, would you feel good about that? Would you want to kind of be like, I'm gonna get back at you, buddy? So the little overview for the Annabelle thing is that the creepy porcelain doll from The Conjuring gets her terror on this spin-off The Conjuring. The ghost hunting Warrens have claimed there was a real Raggedy Ann doll that moved by itself and wrote creepy notes saying things like, "Help us." The woman who owned it contacted a medium who claimed it was possessed by a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle who died there. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that
the
was
first one.
The Conjuring. Or no, Annabelle.
So those are
Which one?
documented.
Annabelle.
So you said that those are real documented things. Is that what you were saying, or?
What do you?
Well, so you said she contacted a medium, and I thought you were saying that there was records of that stuff happening.
No, I don't think there are any records. I mean, there's the doll,
Right,
which is in a case that was soaked in holy water, but.
Okay, I misheard you.
So the next one is the Conjuring series. The first Conjuring movie came out in 2013, and this movie stars Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. Farmiga?
I don't know how to pronounce it.
No. Vera something. As ghost hunters.
Like, it doesn't matter. She's never going to hear this.
No, it's okay. As ghost hunters helping out a family in a haunted 18th century farmhouse. The hunters, Ed and Lorraine Warren, are real people, as it is the person family they assist. Lorraine was a consultant on the new movie and insists that many of the supernatural horrors really happened. And one of the daughters who was depicted in the film, Andrea Perron, says the same. She recalled an angry spirit named Bethesda to USA
Bathsheba.
Today. Bathsheba?
Bathsheba.
Oh, I remember that one.
Has the people who
Like
made the
the
Fallout
game
game.
company.
Check out our overhyped Fallout 76 podcast episode. That was a good episode. Bethesda. All right, I'm so sorry.
She said, whoever the spirit was, she perceived herself to be the mistress of the house, and she resented the company my mother posed for that position. The next one is The Conjuring 2, which was released in 2016. This sequel to The Conjuring, the paranormal investigators head to England to unravel the mysteries of the Hodgins family Enfield Council House. It is based on their supposed story of a young girl who was possessed by the Enfield poltergeist that would talk through her.
Spooky. I've never seen. What movie did you say that was? The Conjuring?
The Conjuring 2.
I've never seen either of those movies. I'm not huge into scary movies, so there's a good chance I haven't seen most of these. Mm-hmm. But that's one of the scarier ones, isn't it? The Conjuring series. That whole series is like known as like
the guy who directed them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it's really creepy.
I'm one of the few people that didn't really think The Conjuring was that scary, but I love The Conjuring movies based on the story and the plot of The Conjuring movies. I'm very big on the story of them. I didn't think that it was a very scary movie, but I can see how people would think it's like terrifying.
Yeah.
I saw The Conjuring 2 with my friend, and oh my god, I was really scared. I was like, when we were walking back to the car, I was like, you cannot walk behind the car to get back into the car. You have to walk in front so I can keep an eye. I was really freaked out. I cried after the movie. It was really scary. All right, so the next one is the Amityville Horror movie, and that was in 1979. In the movie, a young couple buys a house in Amityville, New York, and it turns out to be haunted by supernatural evils. The real-life Letts family moved into an Amityville home in 1975, and about a year later, Ronald DeFeo Jr. murdered 6 family members there. The Letts moved out after just 28 days, citing strange odors, sounds, drips, and other terrifying phenomena.
Spooky.
So the next one that I'm going to say is a classic. This is one of my favorites, and it's Psycho, 1960.
Yes. I'd watch this one.
It's
this was
so
based
good.
on a true story?
I did not know that.
That's what I came across.
Yeah, I think it is. I think I have heard that.
Wow.
All right, anyway, go on.
So it says, Alfred Hitchcock's essential film traces a woman who embezzles money from her employer and runs off to a mysterious hotel where she is, 58-year-old, spoiler alert, murdered by the man named Norman Bates. Bates is said to have been based off a person named Ed Gein, a Wisconsin man who was convicted for one murder in the 1950s, but suspected for others. He was also a grave robber, and authorities found many disturbing results of that in his home, including bowls crafted from human skulls and a lampshade made from the skin of someone's face.
Oh, I did not know that. Was he also obsessed with like his dead mother or something like that? Whatever the movie was?
I think so, but I'm not sure.
In the movie,
I'm like 50-50 on that.
Yeah.
In the movie, he's obsessed with her, obviously.
But in real life, is the guy obsessed?
I'm not sure. The next one is a classic as well. It's The Exorcist, which was released in 1973. Did I see this with you, Chris, or did I see this by myself? That's the question.
We tried to watch it together.
Oh, right. Okay, and then I finished it off by myself.
I have not seen this one. Thank you for asking me. I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't?
No,
I suggest it. It's really cool. It's a little long, but basically, 2 priests attempt to remove a demon from a young girl in this box office smash. The movie was based on a 1949 Washington Post article with the headline, "Priest Frees Mount Rainier Boy Reported Held in Devil's Grip." Director William Friedkin spoke about the article to Time Out London. Maybe one day they'll discover the cause of what happened to that young man, but back then it was only curable by an exorcism. His family weren't even Catholics, they were Lutheran. They started with doctors, and then psychiatrists, and then psychologists, and then they went to their minister, who couldn't help them. And they wound up with the Catholic Church. The Washington Post article says that this boy was possessed and exorcised.
So he was swole AF? This man was exorcised. This man exercised like no other. He was a beast. Beast mode.
Exorcisms. I find exorcisms and the whole demon stuff very interesting. I love that sort of stuff. I think it's so cool. Well, not cool, but I think it's interesting.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's why I'm doing this topic, because a lot of this stuff is kind of based off of exorcisms or just, poltergeists or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not Catholic. I don't really know much about kind of that type of side. But that's just my guess, is it probably doesn't feel good to have something in you and just
Probably
be like,
not.
bye-bye.
Probably not.
Go away.
Sounds
Right. I have an
Probably
exorcism
not.
cross, by the way.
like you
I
can
have a
perform
cross.
exorcisms.
Well, you can perform exorcisms with the cross that I have. Yeah.
Nice. Let's find someone and let's perform an exorcism.
Yeah, you need approval by like the Vatican.
We'll get him. We'll
so
DM him.
enjoy
We'll
that.
DM the Pope. I'm sure he's probably on
Hey,
Instagram, right?
Papa Frank.
Yo, what's up?
Papa Frank.
Frankie.
What's good? Hey, Frankie.
What's up?
All right. So the next one is called A Nightmare on Elm Street, which was released in 1984.
What?
I haven't seen it.
seen
Have
it,
you
but
guys?
I know the story.
I've never heard of the story as well, but I know this is kind of a classic, so let's go. The iconic baddie Freddy Krueger kills
Not
teenager
Krueger with an R.
He my little baddie.
You said Krueger like a cougar.
Krueger,
He
okay.
my little baddie.
At the grocery store, Krugers. They were made by Freddy Krueger.
Okay. I've never had that, but okay.
Get it?
The iconic baddie Freddy Krueger kills teenagers via their dreams in Wes Craven's franchise-launching film. Craven told Velour that the idea stemmed from an article he read in the LA Times about a family of Cambodian refugees with a young son who reported awful nightmares. He told his parents he was afraid that if he slept, the thing chasing him would get him, so he tried to stay awake for days at a time, said Gavin. When he finally fell asleep, his parents thought his crisis was over. Then they heard screams in the middle of the night. By the time they got to him, he was dead. He died in the middle of a nightmare. He was a youngster having a vision of a horror that everyone older was denying. This became the central line of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, I dig it. That's cool.
Ooh.
I thought that was
Spooky,
kind of
but
cool.
it's cool.
I've never seen the movie, but
Imagine it being that kid and you're so scared to sleep because you're having this horrible nightmare every single night.
And then Wes Craven's like, "Hey, can I get the rights to that?"
Yo, give me the rights to your
Make some
horrible
big bucks.
childhood trauma.
so nice.
Let me make your
So nice.
trauma a hit movie.
Exactly.
The next one that Chris and I saw together was The Exorcism of Emily Rose, released in 2005.
Oh yeah.
Well, you didn't
So
see them together in 2005.
No, but we saw it like 2 or 3 years ago, I think.
Okay, yeah.
So before I say anything, also, there is this YouTube channel called BuzzFeed Unsolved, and they kind of did an episode based off of this person that was then the movie was based off of. But anyways, we're going to get into this. So, in 1952, in Königsberg, Germany, Anneliese Michel was raised as a strict Catholic and was described as being very bright and likable. But in September 1968, when she was 16, she experienced her first episode of losing consciousness, which led to her feeling like there was something pressing down on her chest. After more episodes, she went to the doctor and took an EEG, and it came back normal. In spring 1973, Anneliese began to hear sounds in a voice damning her to hell. In September 1973, she saw a doctor and described horrible visions and smelling burnt feces.
How do they know what that smells like?
It's probably like smelling dog poop.
Poop,
like,
man.
It's disgusting. The same year, they went to see Father Alt, which you will hear more about later. In July 1975, her symptoms worsened. She barely slept and prayed fervently all night. She ate spiders and flies and even licked her own urine off the floor.
Ooh.
She even destroyed rosaries, crucifixes, and holy pictures. Father Roderick, an expert in exorcisms, was convinced Anneliese was possessed. After they got permission from the bishop, Anneliese was formally approved for an exorcism. Father Renz would be the one doing the exorcism. In September 24, 1975, the first exorcism was performed, and in May 1976, Anneliese had gone worse. She wasn't eating and had a high fever. On June 30th, 1976, an exorcism was performed the next morning, and the family went into her room where they had saw Anneliese had died of starvation at the age of 23 and after 67 exorcisms. and only weighing 68 pounds at the time of her death.
That's skinny legend. I mean,
How much did she weigh?
That's insane.
No, like not like
What?
a good skinny legend, like a bad skinny legend.
Okay, she weighed 68 pounds and she was
Oh
23 at the time.
God.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Bad.
So, the movie's title character is a 19-year-old girl who dies following an exorcism, and the film focuses on a trial of a priest who performed it. It is based on a real 1976 case of Anneliese Michel, a German woman who died at the age of 23 from starvation following 67 exorcisms to rid her of the supposed demons.
How many?
67
Oh my
exorcisms?
God, that's so many. That's like how much she weighs.
God. She had an exorcism for every pound.
And she was like, they had audio clips there every time I think she was like exercised or whatever, they had audio clips. And one of the audio clips in this BuzzFeed Unsolved video was her saying that she had 4 or 5 demons, like Cain, Hitler, there was another one, Chris, Nero, just like, you know, bad demons, I guess. So the next one is Poltergeist, released in 1982. In Poltergeist, a family's home is invaded by ghosts that abduct one of the daughters. The film was inspired by unexplained events like loud popping noises and moved objects that occurred in 1958 at the Herman's home in Seaford, New York.
Yeah, that's another big one. I also haven't seen that one, but that's another famous.
I haven't seen that, but I think
that one's scary.
Chris, did you see it? You did?
I
saw like clips.
I tried to watch it with you, but you didn't want to.
Oh.
Spooky.
Was that the one where they're like, he's here or something, or they're here?
He's here, yeah. Where the girl is looking at the TV.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
It's also the one where the tree comes through the window and grabs the kid. Or tries to grab the kid.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, like
that I don't know.
TV. Not the one, not like the ring of like crawling out of the. Yeah.
No, not the ring.
That's different. That's a different movie.
Yeah, okay, let's go on. The next one, the second to last one, is called Winchester, released in 2018. Helen Mirren stars in this film as a firearm manufacturer's widow who thinks that she is being haunted by the ghosts of people who were killed by the rifles of her husband's company. The mansion she lives in is based on a real place known as the Winchester Mystery House, which is a real-life woman who Mirren plays, spent 38 years constructing and renovating as she lived there. Legend has it she was taking building direction from spirits, with the tour guide telling Vanity Fair that Miss Winchester would have seances at night and then give new building plans to her foreman in the morning.
Oh, I remember Winchester coming out, and I was just looking it up, and yeah, Winchester is like a gun brand.
The rifle.
But it got a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Was that the one? I think I've seen a little bit of it. It was actually really scary. But probably the plot or whatever was really bad.
I remember the trailer looking scary.
Yeah.
And it won.
Well, that might have been all the scary.
It won an award for best costume design and production design and hair and makeup.
That,
so it obviously it was the AACTA award. I don't know what's the AA. What's that?
All American something maybe.
All American.
I have no idea.
Let's look it up. It's the Australian Academy of Cinema and Television Arts Awards.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so I wonder if that's like their version of the Academy, like our version, the Oscars.
I don't know.
But yeah, it won for costume design, production design.
Oh yeah, like the BAFTA for like the.
Yeah, so I mean, it must have been freaky looking because it won an award for freaky looking, not necessarily acting or directing or writing.
Yeah,
but it won something.
So the last one is a warning that this one is based off of real events.
Haven't they all been based off weird events? The whole thing?
I was gonna say, aren't they all based off of stuff?
Yeah, but this one, I feel like this one was a
category. The other ones have all been like horror and kind of thriller and gory and like traditional horror movies. But this movie that you're about to talk about is, go on. I've watched this movie. It's great.
Yeah.
I love
Say the title again because I think we talked over it.
Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile in 2019. I remember when this came out, when I saw the trailer for it at first, and I was like, whoa, that's Zac Efron. And then it was just like the way, gosh. It
came out around the same time that like the documentary came out. This is about Ted Bundy, for those we haven't mentioned it.
Yeah.
This was the Zac Efron. Yeah, actually, I'm going to stop talking. Why don't you explain it?
So this is about Ted Bundy. And I'll just read the little overview, but then we can say whatever knowledge is off script, off the top of our heads. But anyway, although it is not your typical horror movie, this Zac Efron flick is based on utterly horrific and real events. The movie follows the Ted Bundy murders that tormented America in the 1970s. Period.
Yeah.
It
came out on Netflix around the same time as the documentary. I watched.
I think the documentaries came out first.
I think they did come out first. I watched some of the documentary. I don't think I ever finished it, or like I was watching it with other people. They might have finished it. I don't really. But the Zac Efron movie, I thought it was great. It's freaky, but great.
It made me feel bad for Ted Bundy, and I think that was the point.
Yeah,
it really made you feel like maybe he didn't do everything.
Like he was the perfect person to play it because Ted Bundy was a likable person, and Zac Efron is so likable.
He was very handsome
and charismatic. And in the court, there were like pictures and evidence of him being like funny or like flirting with the jury, and like that he was just such a charismatic person that it was such a shock. But no, I'm glad that you added this one because it is exactly what you said. It's like an unconventional horror movie. You wouldn't think of this as like when you think of comparing it to like Poltergeist and The Exorcist and stuff like that. Like it's a slightly different category, but based on real life.
So that's all the clips I have. I guess the question that I have for you guys is, out of these, which one sounded like the most scariest to you?
Ooh, that's a good question.
We have I'll go over the list really fast. The Amityville, the 2 Conjuring movies, the Annabelle, A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, Psycho, The Exorcist, Winchester, Poltergeist, and Zac Efron, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile.
I would have to say probably Annabelle. I've always been spooked out by like toys or things, and the thought of those coming alive, and like child's play and like different stuff like that has always been pretty freaky. The thought of like exorcisms and stuff seems a little bit more ridiculous. That I don't really believe that as much. Amityville also seems spooky. And I mean the Ted Bundy one, of course, is terrifying, very real, and probably the most evidence of it happening compared to all the other things. But the
other things were like little bits and pieces that happened, but then they
even like Nightmare on Elm Street of like no one believed the kid, like what Chris mentioned. Like, anyway, Chris.
I would say I have 2 that I was going to talk about. The first one, Annabelle, is really creepy. In that one, I really liked hearing about, just because you think dolls are really cute, and you think dolls are harmless and they're child's play things and everything. And I have a Raggedy Ann doll and a Raggedy Andy doll. They're not possessed, don't worry. But like I have those, and I remember playing with that as a kid and having that come alive and being a demon behind it. That's really scary to think about. And the second one I was going to talk about was the Ted Bundy one that you were talking about at the end, because all the other ones, depending on your religious beliefs, you might be able to pass it off as, oh, well, that's this. That's, you can have explanations for it. The Ted Bundy one, regardless of your religious beliefs, that's the boogeyman that you have to fear, are those serial killers that are out there. Like those are the real monsters, and those are real, So I think that's scary in a different way, because, the story that I was talking about, like, the head hanging and the head was hanging from the door. Like that's creepy, but that's fake.
It's not real.
It's not real.
Yeah.
But you could be walking down the street and there could be a serial killer. And that sounds like a scary story, but that's real. Like that can happen. The ringing of the doorbell, that can be real with Ted Bundy on the other end,
Yeah. Spooky. Wow.
So that's why it's scary in its own way.
Yeah. I love the progression from candy to fake scary stories to now real scary stories. I think this was, I don't remember which one of us said this order, but I think it was one of you guys. Great idea. Might have been Leah. I think Leah was the one who said this order. Leah, do you have a favorite spooky thing? I know you brought all these, and obviously they're all spooky enough to make the list. But
I've seen most of these as well.
I don't think I have. Oh, we also didn't even touch upon Psycho. That was another.
Psycho. That's always like that's a cult classic right there. You can't beat that.
That was a good movie.
Alfred Hitchcock, love him. But I have to say, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, I saw that. That was really scary, because whoever did CGI of the clouds, you got me for a good amount of time. The next one was the Conjuring series. That one was really scary, just like The Nun.
Yeah.
And what is it?
Bathsheba.
Bathsheba. She was Bathsheba. She's creepy as all heck. And then, like you said, the Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile. That one was, like you said, that is real life. This is based off of a serial killer. There are serial killers out there, and it can happen. Hopefully, it won't happen. But that has to be like my list.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I guess this ends. What do we name this section? Not laugh. I said laughing with Leah.
On the loo with Leah.
On the loo with Leah because we're all about to pee our pants. But so
that's a good one.
I guess that wraps up the Halloween episode. Wow, this was an extra long episode. Extra long recording. We really should have started earlier. Planned to start earlier. I don't even know. I don't think we have that much more to say. Final thoughts. Spooky. It's Halloween today. Not when we're recording this, but when we release it, it's Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
30 days in advance recording. But yeah, happy Halloween. If you've made it this far, good job. This is a long episode.
Yeah, seriously.
If you made it this far, you're the fans that we like to talk to every time we record. You are the real fans if you made it this far.
The people who at the end, especially like after the sources, when we're really just like become manic, that's when it's always fun. But it's the end of the show.
Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Woo! And happy Halloween. Be safe if you're going trick-or-treating. Keep a distance, wear a mask, and look cute.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, we're recording this at the beginning of October, so I don't even think there's been stuff announced on how trick-or-treating's happening. But however it turns out to happen, be safe.
Yeah.
Have fun. Dress up, even if you're at home.
If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, be sure to rate and review 5 stars. If you don't have 5 stars, it's okay. We like that.
Yeah. If you have a 5-star review to give, review us. If you don't, if it's less, you don't need to do it anymore. That's a lot of effort for you. We don't need that. But if you got nice things to say, leave a review. Message us on Instagram. This has been This Strange World. I feel like we learned a lot of strange things about this world today. I'm Gavin.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Chris. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye. Want more of This Strange World? You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, and you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at This Strange World Podcast and on Twitter at This Strange Pod.
And now we're just jumping right into the sources. I don't even know if people are prepared, but this has been a long episode. So we're going to start off with Gavin. Gavin, can you read us your sources today? Yeah, thanks, Gavin. So the most popular Halloween candy when you were young was from thedailymeal.com. There was another site that said the most popular Halloween candy in America. That was from Eat This, Not That. And then delish.com had the most popular Halloween candy the year that you were born. That was what I was just specifically going through with each year. And then we started to look at states on the 1029 thelake.iheart.com. So I guess that was actually a radio station. But I think, did I have one more? No, that was all my sources for the candy section. Chris, do you have your sources? Why don't you tell us your sources?
I do, Gavin. I do.
Great.
A lot of my stories came from the same place just because it was really nice to have these stories really there. The babysitter, the one about they're calling from inside the house, High Beams, The Peephole, and The Thing all came from the website scaryforkids.com. Humans Can Lick Too was from liveabout.com. There was the shorter ones that weren't the 2-second horror stories. Those came from theactivetimes.com, the creepiest urban legends of all time. And the clown statue, the statue in the corner, came from themorningnews.org. And the other 2-sentence horror stories, those are just Google images that I was reading after a quick Google search.
Google got our back.
Google. Oh, always.
Since day one.
Always Google. Leah, I'm sure you've got plenty of sources for all those movies and real life stories that you talked about. Enlighten us.
Only 3.
Only 3?
Okay, so
wow.
Yeah, can you believe that?
Those were all from
Cosmopolitan, you got my
Oh my god,
back.
some pretty good
yeah,
sources. Pretty insightful. Enlighten us.
The first one is Cosmopolitan. These 39 horror movies are apparently based on true stories, so have fun sleeping.
That's Cosmopolitan.
Title?
I love that.
I love
right there. The second one is from BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural, The Demonic Curse of the Annabelle Doll.
Nice.
And the last one again is, of course, from BuzzFeed Unsolved, The Chilling Exorcism of Annalise Michel.
Nice. Very cool. Love the sources. Guys, how we feeling? Halloween's
I'm
spooky.
pretty
Tired.
I'm pretty spooked right now.
I'm also tired.
I feel
Yeah.
pretty spooked.
Feel pretty
I
spooked.
agree.
I think we only have 9 episodes left after this. We're only going to the end of the year. This is so for the people who really listen and are really listening to the end. They want to see what we have to say after the sources. The end of the season is going to be at the end of the year. Then we're going to take a break and then we're going to start the new season. So keep being on the
Season
lookout.
2.
Season 2?
Ooh, I'm so excited.
Season 2 is gonna be
We already
crazy.
started planning
Season 2.
Yeah.
Little sneak peek of season 2, if I can say this. We're gonna be going away from the planet.
We might be
Maybe
looking
going to some
past
things
this. right?
away from the planet, maybe.
Yeah.
Little sneak
We've already-
peek of season 2.
We figured out the strange world already. We're going to go beyond. Maybe. We'll see. There's still
We'll see.
plenty of things to talk about. Chris often says, what happens when we run out of things to talk about? Well, we're not done yet. So
Well, that won't happen.
there's still that. And
Never.
be on the lookout next week. It will be November, but even actually for the next few weeks in November, there's a good few creepy topics. We got October, November, good
Mhm.
creepy months.
Of
But
course.
yeah.
We got you. We got you. We got your creepy
we got the
fill. You want your creepy fill?
If
We
you
got it
want
coming
to
up.
Suggest anything? Give us suggestions.
And maybe some new
Maybe
guests.
some new guests coming up. Maybe new topics, brand new ideas. Leah, your next episode after this is going to be in a whole different category. I'm really looking forward to it. That's all I'm hinting.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm
we
excited
have
for
someone
that,
very special.
I'm excited for that category. But all right, I think it's about time to wrap this up. This is a very long episode. So, Chris or Leah, all of us, let's end this by saying what we always say. You know what we say on the count of 3.
Ready?
1, 2, 3. Always lock your doors.
Licking
Now
doorknobs is
recording.
illegal on other planets.
Clicking. What did you say, Leah?
Now recording.
Now we go.
now recording.
I said,
Yeah.
always lock your doors at night.
Oh, I said licking
And I gotta
doorknobs
take out
is
my
illegal.
dog. And it's 11:15. And
Oh no.
it's a full moon.
Is it a full moon today?
Fine.
Yes, I think
Well,
so.
Good luck with that. All right.
ahead of
This has been The Strange World. Catch you on the flip side. See you next week.
Bye.
See ya.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.
Bye.